the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dizzy, and welcome to a Dizzy Hand stream. Hi, everyone. I'm here. I have been not. We didn't get as many streams last week as we were hoping for. We were hoping for the normal 3, but on a different day. Schedules didn't work out for people, and people were busy. Oh, my chair has just dropped down. You can see the whole thing doing a little shake there. But yeah, we're here. We exist. We're live. And I did some interesting things over the weekend. Maybe I was gonna talk about this on Saturday because we were planning on doing a Magic-y themed stream on Saturday. I don't know. It wasn't discussed, but we're here today. We're going to discuss it today because I went to a Magic the Gathering Edge of Eternities Prerelease. It's my first ever pre-release, and exciting things went down. Uh, we have a Kingo in the chat. Welcome on in. Thank you so much for subscribing for 20 months. That is a lot of months. The one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. If you mean Disney streams, then unfortunately we're on Twitch. It's owned by Amazon. If you mean space, however, you are correct. Actually, well, that's one of the things. So before I get on to what went down in the pre-release, that's one of the things I really liked about the Edge of Eternities story is they kind of came up with this interesting kind of social construct which they call mallow, which is like how do currency in space, and it's a really interesting take that I haven't seen anywhere before. Have an aggressive decimal. It looks a little hostile. Oh, there. So yeah. So this is my playmat. It is relatively new. It got its first sort of proper play outings on Friday. The first time it's had. Actually, it's not the first time it's had cards on it. I've done like one spell table game with it. But the first time it's seen in person play certainly was on Friday. I think it's really cool. I really like it. It got some compliments on the day, which was nice. It wasn't even that expensive. I got it off of Etsy. But yeah, this is so pretty. I'm very pleased with this, and it's quite nice to touch as well. So you may occasionally see me just doing this. Just give the little 8080 a little stroke. Oh my goodness. Let me set us up with a little bit of music. We are listening to some breaking copyright. They have a space playlist. So we're listening to a space playlist. I might turn it down a little bit. Tell me if that's a good volume. we're putting the at into pat is what we're doing. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so space. First off, as is always important for any Dizzy Hand stream, we have to say hi to Kinko the Embryon, and also to Sutek the Espion. They're still here. They're still kicking around, being very helpful. We love them. Everybody say hi. They're gonna sit off to one side because sadly there is not quite enough room for both of them and anything else on the desk. Yeah, so here we have our little pre-release pack. This is what it looks like. It's a little box. It feels very little for what's inside it, but actually there's even some sort of spare room in it, so it's not that room. Yes. So, the way they organised it was a little. So I was up in London for the pre-release because my local game store listed an event that didn't have online tickets and said tickets would be available on the day, and then some number of days, small number of days before the event, they actually did put up a ticket with online sale, and they got sold out. Having already said, it'll be tickets on the day, they sold out the tickets online. So I ended up going to London, but that was fine because the place we went to was quite a nice place. And yeah, they had the boxes. They had boxes out from like 5 o'clock. The event was supposed to start at 7. It actually started noticeably late, and that was a little bit of a running theme with what was going on. Was that everything went on sort of slightly over and went slightly late. But it was fine. It just meant I ended up getting home quite late. So yeah, these are the packs. You can see they open down the sides, and they have this nice little slogan under the bit which you tear off, which I think is quite sweet of them. Firstly, all of the art surrounding Edge of Eternities just looks fantastic. I know it's not particularly new for magic art to look good, but like I love space stuff, and all of the space art for the set looks fantastic. On the inside, we have our traditional kind of magic packaging. Ends up with these kind of punch-out counters, which are very useful if you don't have other things. I ended up bringing dice because I knew I was going to need markers and counters and things, so I didn't really use these. You can see they're all still punched in, but it's always lovely to have them. Also, this thing, I don't know what this is supposed to represent. They often have these rectangular markers. The only set that I know of where they've ever done something is Duskmorn, where they were used to signify your locked rooms on your split room permanents. But they're fun. They're fun to have. We are going to pop everything out while we're here, I think, because otherwise, the reason why this one's out is because it just kind of came out on its own. And I don't want that to happen too much. So our counters that we have, I think this side is supposed to be a stun counter side. Obviously this side is your +1/+1 counter, your standard way of increasing creature power. And then the other counter we have is a swell, which I assume is supposed to be a charge counter, because there's lots of charge counters in this set. Also double-sided with the +1/+1. I think that is all of the counters. Oh no, this is a double-sided stun counter. I feel like they didn't need to make it double-sided. I feel like they could have put something else on the other side. But what do I know? And this is a double-sided charge count. Again, how strange that they decided to do that. But yeah, I love all the pop-outs. It's very good. You can't easily see the art, but this piece of backing art also looks absolutely amazing. So for those who don't know the setting of Edge of Eternities, there's the universe, or there's the multiverse if you like, and then there's not the universe, which is called the Blind Eternities, and then the thin, like they describe it like an orange peel. The thin layer between the multiverse and the not the multiverse is called the Edge of Eternities, and that's where we are, and it is a technologically proficient. I need to turn this down, otherwise I can't think. Excuse me. is a technologically proficient but magically slightly stunted realm. And so you have spaceships and planets and cool things like that. And then when one existing multiverse character makes his way into the Edge, and they don't really have magic there, but like he has magic, he's wildly overpowered. It's almost amusing how overpowered he is. See, now that's too quiet when it's on the quiet bits on OBS. Kinga says, I hate how much I genuinely like the term "rind of reality." It's a good phrase to have coined. Oh dear. But yeah, so the story revolves around one particular star system within the Edge of Eternities, and that's the Sothera system, with the former star, now Super Void, black hole, at its heart Sothera. And then I think we've got 3 of the planets on here. So this is the planet Uthros. This is the blue planet, and it's inhabited by sort of floating jellyfish guys. This is Cavaron, the planet that is inhabited by the Cav, which are apparently existing creatures from magic lore, but in previous magic lore they're not like a sentient species, but here they're a sentient spacefaring species. And they, because their star was going to go supernova, they basically mined their planets to literal destruction, trying to find a way off and out of their system. And so now their planet is like broken in half, and the half that's all churned up frequently rains down on the half that isn't churned up. And that's the red planet. And then here we have, I can't actually remember what it's called. This is the White Mana aligned planet. That is the home base of the Summists, who are one of the 2 crazy religious factions. There's a faction of black hole worshippers who made the black hole, and there's a faction of Summists who are trying to un-black hole the black hole. So it's like how cows, as most people know them, aren't sentient spacefaring creatures. I've said moo much, says Kingo. That is atrocious, Kingo. I love it. But yeah, everything Edge of Eternities looks so pretty, and I've been so pleased with it. We will see more of that as I take a look at the cards. And also the box, which is not quite the same art, but approximately the same art. Yeah, so inside your outer wrapper, you get a box with a lid that functions like a sort of a sensible box. Inside the box, we will ignore that for a sec. Inside the box, it comes with 6 booster packs. And if you play a pre-release, you will make a deck from these 6 booster packs. It also comes with 1 promo card in its own booster. And then down this side, if I can get it out, if I haven't put it in a silly way. Oops. There's a cardboard insert, and what they call a spin down D20. So this is it's a 20-sided dice, but instead of being arranged in the conventional way where you have like 1 is next to 19 and 18 and 17 to make it more balanced, on a spin down the numbers are arranged kind of sequentially, with the idea being that you're using it to track your life total. So you start on 20, which is a cute little black hole symbol, which I love. And then you'll tick down 19, 18, 17, 16, 15 as you take damage. So this is a physical life tracker if you don't want to track your life electronically. Asterisk, in order to take part in this event, you need to have the Wizard's Companion app, or the Magic Companion app, to sign up. And the Magic Companion app has a life tracker in it. So these are technically a little bit redundant, but I think they're really a really nice thing to have in your little gift box. So I'm still glad that it comes with it. And you know me, I'm very app averse. I don't like using sort of everyone's individual proprietary apps if I can't help it. So it was rather begrudgingly that I did sign up to the Magic Companion app. But there, so those are the little sort of things that come with it. And then there's a divider card. Then you get into your packs, and because I have all the packs here, I thought what I actually did was having opened the packs, made a deck, played with the deck. What I have done is I have put all of the cards back into the booster packs they came from. I've put all the cards back into the booster packs that they came from, such that I can sort of simulate the feel of opening them for the first time on stream. Fun fact: these are actually the first Magic boosters that I have ever opened in my life. I've opened Pokemon boosters and I've probably opened the Yu-Gi-Oh booster, although now I say that I can't think at the time when I would have opened the Yu-Gi-Oh booster. But I've definitely opened Pokemon boosters before. These are my first ever Magic boosters that I've opened. So that was its own sort of exciting thing that happened for the first time on Friday, as part of the wider "this is my first ever release." But yeah, so I thought I'd start. So I've gone through. I've put them back in the wrong order, but I have numbered. I have numbered the booster packs, not in the order that I actually opened them in, but in the order that is, I think, optimized for the viewing experience. So that is the order we'll be opening. But I'm going to start with the promo card. The interesting thing that I noticed. This booster wrap is 100% recyclable, which is great. That's fantastic that it is. Why is this booster pack not 100% recyclable if you have the technology? If you can do this, why have you not done it here? I don't feel like that's too much to ask. Especially because they've designed a whole new booster pack just for this one card in every box. And they've made it like a recyclable. And you're like, what's going on here? Is this particularly less durable than these? It has ripped slightly more in the opening process, so maybe it is. But, you know guys, come on, it's 2025. You can have recyclable packaging. It's actually, I say that, they have some recycling instructions on the back, which are in French, so I can't understand them. I know in the US and Canada, very clearly they are explicitly not recyclable. And then in France, presumably they are. And then the UK recycling instructions are astonishing. They actually look sharper on this image on the camera than they do in real life. They are real blurry looking in real life. But they have a materials category, but I don't think that is one that is recycled sort of anywhere, particularly in the UK. So just switch to the recyclable stuff. Kinga says, I'm predicting 4 copies of Destiny Hero Defender. That would be quite exciting if we opened a Destiny Hero Defender in a Magic Booster pack. That would be there would be so much explaining to do if that happens. But yeah, so our one pre-release promo card. I don't know what the pool is that these cards are chosen from. I assume they are all at least of rarity. But beyond that, I have no idea. So this is Mutinous Massacre. It's in a sort of a foil treatment, and it has. You can tell it's a promo card because they put the little 2025 shiny gold splash on it. Because this especially makes you really open once it did go on the time. Actually, that would maybe I guess make it less exciting because they are all already opened packs. But maybe even weirder because I don't own even one copy of Destiny Hero Defender. Yes, Mutinous Massacre, it's a 7 cost. It's like half board wipe and half what's it called? I actually don't know what it's called. It's a half mass game control and swing things. So it's choose odd or even, destroy each creature with mana value of the chosen quality, then gain control of all the creatures that remain until end of turn, untap them to gain haste. It's a good sort of way to finish people off if your opponents have a big board state. It's particularly if your opponents have a big token board state, you can either clear it all out because the tokens are 0, or you can gain control of it and swing and kill maybe one player, maybe more players. Either way, like whatever you take, your opponents should have nothing. Because even if they have indestructible creatures, you just gain control of the indestructible creature. So you know, it's a fun way to finish a game for 7 mana. It's not. I will say it's not a card that I'm particularly like excited by. Like it's a finisher, but I'm. If I was playing a theft strategy already, then this would go in. If I was playing with what's the card? The Beast from Doctor Who. I tell you what I actually need. I need to add to OBS a little like source for a card image that I can just like bring up at a moment's notice. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can set that up really quickly. It's not there. Why is it not there? This is already longer than I wanted to think. There we go. Alright, see if I just have a little card image that I can bring up on the screen when I want to reference something, that'd be useful. See, like if I was running this as my commander, then maybe I would run this in the deck as well because I'd get a lot of card draw off of it. But if I'm playing this, I'm probably ending the game with it, so. Do I want to put this back? No, we'll leave it out of the packs now. We don't need the packs anymore. They're only here for this demonstration bit. Let me make sure this is in a sensible place. But, okay. Alright, so, on to the booster packs proper. So this is the one I want to show first because this has got a fun card. Not a card that I use, but a fun card. So, we have our lovely lands. These are not in like the order they come out of the pack, these are in just my order that I put them back in. All of the art of all of the lands in this deck, in this set, looks wonderful. This is Capital. You can see it's kind of half exploded. Fun mountain. Next, all of the tokens, so all the tokens are double-sided. And I think they all have a lander token on. These are the new standard token, the new like predefined token for this set. Which is it's a really good token to have in Magic's arsenal. It's a ramp token. And there's 5 different arts for it, one that roughly corresponds to every single color of basic Magic. So this is the quote-unquote black lander token. This isn't the nicest looking one, but it's fine. It's got a cute robot guy on the back. I like the cute robot guy. He's cool. And then we have some common cards. We have a little auxiliary boosters. It's an equipment, and it makes a boy to equip itself to when it comes in, which is always a fun effect to have on an equipment. They're sort of saying that this kind of effect plays so well that they're gonna make more equipments that do this, and they're gonna make more equipments that come in and snap on immediately when they do come in, which I like. We have Ilvoy Lightstone, which is another equipment, and this is a snap-on equipment. You can flash it in. It's a protector spell on the turn it comes in, and then it's a small buff. Nothing special. It's a counter spell, and it makes a lander token, which is nice in blue because blue does not get very much ramp. This is a good early game spell when your opponents probably don't have 2 mana spare because they're probably playing stuff on curve in the early game. You get a ramp token out of it. Nice to have if you're playing that kind of a deck. Temporal Intervention. It's just a generic discard spell. A flying creature who makes a robot when it dies. These guys, so in the story, you kind of see monoists fighting with their sort of grav packs. I think it's really cool that they have this. So the monoists are the black hole worshipping faction, and their fighting style is they kind of sort of fling themselves around the battlefield using these sort of portable gravity generators. It's kind of weird to describe it, but in the story it works really well. And it's such a flavorful way of them fighting for their faction as well. So this is a card I did use. This is the first card we've got to I did use. This is Nebula Dragon, whose Spenny deals a little bit of damage when it comes down as a moderately sized flyer. It's not like a great card, but for a common, it's usable. Actually, I shouldn't have spoiled that I used this. Can we retcon that? Can we retcon me telling you what cards I used? Because I was going to ask you again what you think I should have built. We'll forget that we asked that. So here's Intrepid Tenderfoot. He's just a guy who makes himself bigger. So those are our commons for the pack. We have a Surveil and Draw, but this one's artifact related. We have a Convoke Destroy Target Creature, which is a fun thing to have. There's not loads of cards in the set, but there's some cards in the set that like have an effect when they get tapped, and there's a few ways of like tapping things without attacking with them, which is nice. We have a Meltstrider Eulogist, who draws you a card when a creature with a +1 counter dies. That's a fairly decent draw engine in the right kind of deck. And then this is the fun card from this pack. So this is Sammy. They are a canon non-binary person, and they are the main character of the Edge of Eternities story. Pictured here with their cat, whose name I don't remember, but is an important plot point in the story, this cat. And Sammy, so there's like a couple of Sammy cards in the set. This one is the uncommon, what do they call it? Signpost. The signpost uncommon for red and white. So if you're in red and white, you want to be making, you want to have tapped creatures, and you want to be making robot artifacts, which is fun. We've got a Lightless Evangel, who's a sacrifice payoff, which is very nice. It just gets big when you sacrifice stuff. And then our rare for the pack was this Requiem Monolith. It's a 3-cost. It's like an enrage trigger. It taps to give something an enrage trigger. When it's dealt damage, you draw cards and lose life. I think in practice, this is gonna be like as much of a way for killing your opponent by that you have a big thing. They put a tiny little blocker in front of it, tap this, and then when that blocker has dealt all the damage, they lose the life anyway. I think this is going to be as much for a go-to strategy as it is for actually using it yourself. So I don't know what colors Enrage sort of traditionally is. Enrage is like when you have creatures that want to get pinged for damage themselves. Mostly it's in dinosaurs, which I think is like a Naya color thing. So that's red, white, and green for those who aren't going to know. But yeah, it's an interesting card. There was nothing that there wasn't anything in this pack that like blew me away. I have already spoiled that some things in here made it into the final deck. We'll try and keep them as sort of loosely in the right order by rarity. But having Sammy was nice. Nice to see Sammy because they're the main character. Take them behind. We get on to pack number 2, and we're going to start with kind of the shiniest, prettiest thing in this, which is a lovely foil Plains card, which looks very nice. It's sort of all kind of nebula-y, space gassy, with a little, like, I assume like a newly formed star in the middle of this expanding cloud, which is fun. But this is very pretty. We have another lander token. This is the nominally blue lander token, which I think looks very pretty. This is possibly the prettiest of the lander tokens. And it has a drone on the back. A little helper friend with some little anti-grav bombs. And on our commons we have somebody who wants you to cast 2 or more spells and has vigilance. This is pretty good value, honestly, for 3 mana. Like, most of the time it's gonna be a 4/4 with vigilance for 3. Which isn't terrible. Focus Fire is a classic deals damage to attacking or blocking creature white removal spell, but this one is spacecraft themed. We've got another Snap-on Equipment. This gives a creature first strike on the turn it comes in, and it's otherwise just a very small buff, but it's only 1 mana, so it's a nice combat trick for white. We have a Flash Flying Jellyfish. We have a slightly unusual black kill spell. It's -3, -0, and then it destroys the thing, which is unusual, but I like it. We have a Cav Landsleeper. There's a 4/3 for 4 with Menace. And he makes you a lander token when he comes in, but interestingly, he only makes you like a temporary one. This is really weird, because it's like, at the beginning of the step in its sacrifice that token. So like, you get a lander, and you can have a lot of landers, but like, this one lander you have to mark out in gameplay as being, this is the one that's going to be sacrificed this turn. And then we have a Diplomatic Relations. So this is a card that got a day 0 errata, because they meant to put in here the words "you control," because that makes it a very different card without having it. It's just a fairly standard bite spell, but it gives vigilance, and vigilance is an underrated ability, so I like it. Onto our uncommons. We got this is a card that I might put in some deck lists. It's a generic destroy permanent with an upside. The upside is your opponent gets a ramp token. I don't think it's as good as Generous Gift or Beast Within, but like it's pretty comparable. We have a boy who destroys a thing of entry, and it gives your opponent a little upside if you haven't damaged that thing. We have a spaceship, our first spacecraft that we are seeing today. It's a saw ship, so I assume this kind of like grinds up asteroids and mines them and things. And it is fairly uncomplicated. It has no abilities other than when it's a creature, it's a flying haste 6/5. And if you don't know how spacecraft work, you tap other creatures to put charge counters on them to their power. So it's a little bit like brewing a vehicle. But once you have a certain amount of charge counters on it, it's just permanently a creature from then on. So they're generally like better in terms of value than vehicles, but they're harder to activate. But also some of vehicles like quite unique advantages are that they're not creatures on your opponent's turn, which means they can get around like removal spells quite easily. And the spaceships don't have that. As it is, like 6 mana for a 6/5 flying haste, you can do better than that anyway, even if this was just a creature, so yeah. And then we have our Melt Strider's Resolve, which is an aura. It's a fight spell when it comes in, and it can't be blocked by more than one creature, and a little bit of toughness power, which is nice. And then for our foil in this pack, weirdly, we got a second Diplomatic Relations, but slightly shinier. And yeah, and then we had actually this must be, so we got a foil in our land slot, and we got a foil in our foil slot. Interesting. And yeah, and then our rare is this Pinnacle Star Cage, it's a sweeper for cheap things, but it's an O-ring style sweeper for cheap things, so they will come back eventually. But you can pay 8 and then they won't come back. You make a bunch of robots. Yeah. Yeah, it's such a situational card because it requires your opponent having lots of cheap things, so it really only works against a kind of particular style of deck, which to my mind makes it like a sideboard type card. But maybe there's a sensible way to play it in a deck if you have a strategy. Oops, not that one. We don't pack it anymore. Alright, pack number 3, and we're going to start out really strong with this pack because in our land slot for this pack we've got one of the full art lands. I think the full art lands from this set are so good looking. I love it. It feels kind of almost not like a Magic card, weirdly, when you're holding it in your hand, but they are so pretty. I love them to bits. I'm very happy to have one of these. I would, if were money and time no object, I would want like a full play set of all of these. Like I'd want like 4 of each of the full art basic lands from this set because they all look so good. We've got another one of our black style lander tokens with another robot on the back. We have, for our commons, we have a flyboy creature who can bounce something else you own. We have a blue instant that is quite an expensive cantrip. Like it taps and you draw a card for 2 mana. It's not wonderful, but it can be 1 mana if it's your turn. We have a sacrifice a thing to destroy a thing for 1 mana black removal spell. We have a red tiger mechan, which I won't lie, it doesn't feel like super spacey. This feels more sort of almost like Mecha Kamigawa kind of thing going on. It has the new warp ability, which is you can cast it from your hand for cheap, and then it exiles on the end step, and then you can cast it from exile later. So it's sort of pseudo-adventure. Most of them that have warp don't have haste. This one does have haste. Most of them normally have Enter's ability, so the warp is kind of a way of getting Enter's ability again, without getting the creature body it's attached to. But this one is just, it's a hasty 3/3. It comes in, it swings. We have a nice red removal spell. 1 mana, deals 2 damage, sometimes deals 3 damage. Very nice. Let's put that on there. We have Thorbringer. It's a 4/2 for 3, and it gives you 2 surveil triggers over the course of its life. We have Gene Pollinator, which is a kind of air mana dork, because you have to tap 2 things for 1 mana. If you're playing some kind of an artifact token deck where you don't mind having the tokens, or if you're playing like a enchantment deck where you're not going to tap your enchantments otherwise, it's probably fine. For Commander, which is obviously what I play, there are better 1 mana dorks, but it's there. Also, I guess if you want to be tapping things, if you have your things like your I can't remember what it was. If you have things that want to be tapped, then it's perhaps useful. In our uncommons, we have a white combat trait that gives double strike and potentially draws you a card, which is quite nice. We have Unravel. It's a counter spell and maybe drawing a card. This is a solid, for a 3 mana counter spell, this is a pretty solid choice. Oh god, this art is a bit spooky. So in the story, at one point, spoiler alert, the Eldrazi attack. I think this is what happens if you get Eldrazi in the Edge of Eternities. You get sort of turned into squiggly white lines. Here's a boy who wants to be tapped. This is Seed Chip Agrarian. When he becomes tapped, you make one of those lander tokens. And then he's got a landfall ability. When a land you control enters, put a +1 counter on this creature. You should definitely read that ability and do it. when the trigger happens. This is not foreshadowing, I promise. And then we got another Signpost uncommon. I think this is actually the last multicolor card we got. Like, I think there were only the 3 of them out of all the omens I got. Which I must admit, that was something I was a little bit disappointed by, was not getting more multicolor cards. But yeah, he's a Signpost uncommon for red and black. So if he's a 2/2 flyer, he gets you artifacts or creatures from graveyard to your hand. So red and black wants you to be doing sort of generic sacrificing things. And it's got this void ability, which is if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn. And he gets slightly bigger if you do that. And then our foil for this pack was this nice Comet Crawler, who's a 2/3 lifelink. Lifelink very good in sort of the smaller formats like Limited. Very nice to have, and he's a sacrifice outlet when he swings to make him a bit bigger, which is nice if you want that. And then our rare for this it's an interesting card. It's a 6 cost. You get an artifact or creature from your hand onto the battlefield. When it leaves, it deals damage. When it leaves, it's like a board wipe. And then at the beginning of your end step, you lose it. It's an interesting card. In Limited, this is also not foreshadowing. In Limited, it's not very useful because there's just not many things that are more than 6 mana that you want to cheat out with this. Maybe it's more useful for its board wipe ability, I don't really know. But because the wipe happens on your end step, it's the kind, and it's a symmetrical wipe, and it happens on your end step. So you definitely don't have the chance to rebuild from it, no matter what you do. It's not a card I love. But yeah, just the absolute star of the show. The full art swamp. Very glorious. Very gorgeous. Bup. I think it's the lack of border in particular, and like the fact there's nothing at the top that makes it feel not quite like a Magic card. But I even find myself handling it slightly differently. It's so weird. It's so cool though. Alright, that is pack number 3. Pack number 4. The more exciting things are happening more as we go on. So that's why the first few packs has been like, I'm not that excited by things. We have a swamp. It also has pretty art. I assume this must be the Monoist homeworld. We don't really get a good idea of what the Monoist homeworld looks like, particularly in the story. But it has these kind of ancient ruin structures on it, which I guess is what all those circles are. They overlap with me. They look cool and interesting. This could almost be Orpheus. We have another lander token. This time this is the green lander token. You can see it's all organic-y looking, and it's crashing down on an ice planet. The green faction... Hang on, let me go find them. The green faction of these guys, they're the Eumidians. They're insects who kind of seed the galaxy with their progeny. And on the back we have a 1/1 human soldier. These are 1/1 white human soldier. These are the summists. These are their sort of. This is a generic summist trooper. They have sort of cool armor. They're actually really OP in the story. They're not like invincible, but their armor is very good. And their like weapons and technology are really good as well. We have our Night Luminary. This is a creature that I played against many times. And he warps in for 2 mana, he makes a 1/1 and then leaves, and he casts him again, he makes another 1/1. Which the 2 mana for a 1/1 on its own is not wonderful. But he's fine enough, and they were useful enough against me. So it's a card I've learnt to have some respect for. We have a blue, bounce to top or bottom of library with a nice little surveil attached. We have a card that got a little bit of talk when it was kind of previewed. Hulk Armor. I think it looks good, for one thing. And then it's just a little 1/1 with Death Touch for 1. It's a solid card. It's nice if you want your Death Touches. I could possibly put this in my Avalanche Grand Prix list, just because it's solid enough value, and I think it looks cool. He's got 4 arms, and he is indeed carving through a hull. Not the town or city of Hull, the hull of the spaceship. We have Bombard, 3 mana, 4 damage. We have Sky Stinger, who is a pretty good value reach blocker. He gets bigger when he blocks something with flying, so he's a fairly hard counter to most flying threats your opponents are going to have, which is nice. You can see Eumidian Thermal Wands protect their new home as well as thwart. So I guess he's got sort of like a heat laser beam that he's firing into the sky. It says, for all we know, that's the Starship Hull, like the Starship London. That is such a fun concept. Flying through space in the Starship Hull. Someone should write that story if they haven't already. We have Biosynthetic Burst. It's a green combat trick. It's quite a good combat trick. Like, it's a +1 counter, so it's a permanent buff, and it's an untap, and it's reach and trample and indestructible. This is pretty good. As combat tricks go, this is what I'm looking for in a combat trick. We have our second spacecraft. It is a colorless removal spell. It's 7 mana and it deals 10 damage, which is fairly hefty. 7 mana to just do damage on its own is not great. And then we've got another 7 here. 7 plus counters. It's a 7/7. So this is definitely a 7 themed card. It's fine. I never used this. I didn't use it. But it's one of those common colorless removal spells that just kind of goes into anything in the space. Onto our uncommons, we have Tractor Beam. It's a perma-tap. It's a theft spell, but it's also a perma-tap spell, which is an interesting mix. It's for if you really want something for its ability as a theft spell, but I guess also like as removal because you control it. You know, it's better than a normal perma-tap. It's odd. It's pretty. This is one of the oh god, what is the faction called? The jellyfish. Oh, I can't remember what they're called. So this is a jellyfish type ship with all the sort of the woolly waviness going on. We have Scrounge for Eternity. Additional cost, sacrifice something, get something back, and then make a lander token. I love that the lander tokens are in all colors in this set. Like, there are colors that maybe need some more ramp from time to time, and so having access to lander tokens is going to be big, I think. We have a Terra Pact Intimidator. I don't actually know what the Terra Pact is. But this guy's a cav. He's a cav, so he's presumably going around warding off people who are trying to loot the exploded half of the planet, because that's what people do. He's an interesting sort of a choice type card for your opponent. Your opponent can have you make 2 lander tokens, or they can have him get 2 bigger. Most of the time, I think the 2 bigger is the better choice for your opponent. But he's like as a possibility to make 2 of those ramp tokens for 2 mana, he's not bad. Here is our shiny foil. It is a Radiant Strike. It is a removal spell and life gain, and it costs 4 mana, and I don't think I can use it because it costs 4 mana. But it's shiny. We have our second spacecraft of the pack as a rare. This is a Lumencast Frigate. It's a relatively cheap Anthem spell, which is nice, and then if you happen to station it all the way up, it's a 3/5 flying lifelink, which is not blowing anyone away, especially when you're tapping 12 powers worth of creatures to get there. But like, as just an Anthem spell, with some possibilities, It's fine. It's good. It's nice. And then the last card, the one that I saved for last because I really like this card. Use Social Engineering. So it's an enchantment with that warp ability. And in this case, you'd warp it in so that you could get the effect on turn 2. And it's whenever a land you control enters, you make a 2/2, which is nice. Maybe not wonderful for 5 mana, but solid enough. Useful enough. This is my sort of standout card for this pack. Although the Lumen Class Frigate is also a good card for this pack. Hullcarver as well is just a card I liked. Right, put you all away. We're on to pack, what, 5 now? Pack 5. We're saving this for last. This has a very fun thing, very good, which you'll come to see. This pack also, I mauled it while I was opening it. So it was more awkward to put everything back in than the others. We have our forest. This is the Eumidian planet. It looks lush. It looks absolutely lovely. You can see there's this kind of... The way the Eumidians work is they've terraformed sort of a belt, which is lush and green, out of what was previously just an ice planet. So the whole planet is just such a fun concept, and then the art looks good. Everything in the set looks so good. We have another Greenlander, and another human soldier on the backside. And onto our commons, we have Starport Security, a little 1/1 for 1 robot soldier boy. He's got some sort of glow tonfas, which are interesting. And he taps down the creature for quite a lot of mana, but a little bit less if he's got a counter. We have a Sinister Cryologist. I don't know what... I assume a Cryologist studies ice. I don't know how you can be sinister while studying ice. But apparently he's succeeding. This is a very ominous jellyfish boy. I assume those things are eyes? They're very ominous eyes. And he makes an opponent's creature smaller in power, but like he doesn't have flash. You can't do this as instant speed, so I don't think it's that useful. We got a standard black draw cards and lose life, but with a nice void upside of instead you can make your opponent lose life. Tingle says, I know at least one sinister cryogenics researcher. I'm intrigued. What is sinister about this cryogenics researcher? Do they know that you think they're sinister? Do they know that they are sinister? We have Orbital Plunge. It's 6 damage to a creature, and it makes a lander token, which is nice. That's a little upside for 4 mana. This is much better than the 4 damage spell for 3 mana that we saw before. We have a Drix Fate Maker. So he's one of a number of creatures that is... Each creature you control the +1 counter on it has trample. We've seen that many times before. He's a bit more expensive than most of them, but you can warp him in, and if you warp him in and then you cast him later, he's actually dishing out 2 +1 counters, versus the normal ones that only dish out at most 1. So he's a nice take on that archetype. He says, I mean, what I'm thinking of is Mr. Freeze for that plus. Okay, that's fair. When you said, I know, I assumed you meant you need them in real life. I was like, because this is an interesting person for you to know, a cryogenics researcher. You're right that Mr. Freeze is a sinister cryogenics researcher. We have a Sammy's Curiosity, which is a 1 mana make a lander token. That's a fun enough ramp spell. It's got a little bit of life gain attached to it. Would I run this over something like Nature's Law? Probably not. Maybe if I was doing something life gaining. Yeah, if I was doing something life gaining, then probably. The interesting thing about it is it's overall it's 3 mana, which is usually for 3 mana you want like a good upside on your ramp. But the interesting thing about this is it can be 1 mana turn 1 and 2 mana turn 2, which is pretty good. Like 2 mana turn 2 is good. Oh, it's an interesting choice for a ramp spell. We have a Thalmaton Torpedo, who is a 1-cost artifact that does nothing until you pay 6 mana and sacrifice it, and then it blows something up, but it's cheaper if you swing with a spaceship. Which we did not get nearly enough spaceships to do anything like spaceship related in this pre-release, which was really sad because I was very excited for land atoms and I was very excited for spacecraft. We have a Dawnstrike Vanguard. This is our first uncommon. It's a 4/5 lifelink, which is solid. And then if you control some tank creatures, you get +1 counters on each other creature, which is nice. We have a Dubious Delicacy. It's a food. It's a removal spell for something small. And then it can also drain your opponent's life instead of giving you life, which is unusual for a food, but I guess it is a black food. Having a look at the art and trying to work out what it is, and I mean, I guess it's a Dubious Delicacy because I can't work out what it is. We have a Survey Mechan. This is a 1/3 flyer for 4 with Hexproof, and it has an ability. The ability is not relevant. This card is actually hot garbage, as it turns out. But yeah, it's the ability is one of these. There's a few abilities in the set that like they rely on having lands with different names, which is wonderful if you're constructing something like Commander, where you might have 5 or 6 different dual lands plus some utility lands in your deck list. But obviously in Limited, you are pretty much exclusively using your basics, and maybe your 1 non-basic that you pulled. It's just dire. And even then, the ability, like, you sacrifice a creature, you draw 3 and gain 3 life, and it deals 3 damage to something. The ability isn't even that wonderful for just the 4. Like, for the 4 mana that it is, that would be fine. But like for 4 mana plus any reasonable amount that you're paying, and then sacrificing the creature, it's just not worth it. Which is a big shame. Because it's also, it's not quite a spaceship. It looks like it should be a spaceship, but it's not a spaceship. This is the rare for the pack. We got a Chorale of the Void. There's all these monoliths sort of doing a kind of singing ritual type thing. It's an enchantment. It's an aura, sorry. And it's a theft thing. So you get a theft every turn, but it kills itself unless you've voided, which I think is an interesting use of the void ability words, because it's not like any of the other voids that I've seen. But repeatable theft is fun, and it brings the thing in tapped and attacking. So if you just want to keep this around, you can bring in something small that can be blocked and killed, and this at least stays. Here is our foil. This is a pretty one. It's a 9/9 for 9, and it has Warp 3. So obviously you bring it in, you can't swing with it because it doesn't have haste. So it's mostly designed as you bring it in and then you use it, you station it straight away. You use it straight away to station a spacecraft and put 9 charge counters or something, which is an interesting purpose for a card. If you have a commander that makes things sort of hasty, then a 9/9 for 3, even for 1 turn, is pretty solid. And then the last card from this pack, which is the exciting thing. This is a Ruberoid. I don't know what exactly this is. It's a plant worm, so it's obviously some kind of mega space creature like you get in Star Wars or something. It is a mythic. It is a 4-cost 1/3. I had to I played with this card. Spoiler alert. I played with this card. When I put it down on the field, I had to reread the ability like 3 times to make sure that yes, that is what it is saying. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put X +1 counters on each creature you control, where X is this creature's power. So what that means is, turn 1, you're putting it down, you're immediately getting a +1 counter on everything, which is solid. Including this. So turn 2, you're then putting 2 +1 counters on everything. Including this. Turn 3, you're putting 4 +1 counters on everything. It goes very hard very quickly. Which, I mean, I guess it's a mythic threat. That's what you sort of expect. This is a really good card. The one game that I played this in, it wasn't even around for that long, and it still solidly handed me the win in that game. So this is a good card. This is the exciting thing from this pack. And this is only the penultimate pack, so you can guess that there's even more exciting things to come. Has my music stopped? My music has stopped. There we go. Come here, come on. Alright. Last pack. Pack number 6. Wrapping her up. Getting rid of this. We have an island. I don't really know exactly what this is supposed to be. It's just sort of generically spacey, but it's fun. It looks nice. We once again have a blue lander token. And this one has a robot on the backside. We love to see this robot. We have Banishing Light. It's an O-ring. It's a very standard O-ring. We have Mechanozoa. There's a few like something Azoa cards out there that I like and interested by. This one is a robot jellyfish. You can see it's kind of grabbing all the spaceships out of the sky, which is a bit terrifying. It's definitely got echoes of the Baldur's Gate Nautiloid. It's 6 mana, you put a stun counter on something. You can warp it into 3. It's fine. A Grav Blade Heavy. So this is somebody who seems to have like a black hole axe as their weapon, which is an interesting concept. It's a Death Touch Boy if you have an artifact. An Insatiable Skittermore. It's an insect horror. That definitely looks like an insect. Definitely looks horrifying. It's a 2/2 with Menace, and it gets a counter if you kill it. We have a Melded Moxite, which is an artifact that rummages you, and then you can pay 3 to make a 2/2 robot artifact creature token. I don't think this is really good enough value to be useful for mana. Like if it was a 2/2 that also rummaged when it entered, that would be one thing. This is... it gets you a sacrifice trigger, or it gets you an extra artifact enters trigger, if those are things you really care about, but I'm sure you can do more for your 5 mana. We have a Fungal Colossus, who is a 5/5 for 7, but not really 7, because it costs less to cast if you control differently named units. This is a fine card for limited, that I think will have no place whatsoever in Constructed. Like, I guess a 5/5 that does nothing for 1 isn't terrible, but it is still a 5/5 that does nothing. We have Melt Strider's Gear. This is... so Melt Strider is a Eumidian kind of profession, because they walk across the melty, icy bit of their world. It's a +2/+1 in reach. It snaps itself on, which is good because you are never paying down equip costs for +2/+1 in reach. I tell you that much. Our uncommons, we have a 7-cost 6/6 flyer with Ward 2, which isn't terrible at all. And once again, it's that -3, -0, but only at sorcery speed. But this one lasts until your next turn, which is noticeably better. But also, it's still -3, -0. Like, I guess it keeps your creatures alive. it means you take less damage. Against the go wide, where somebody's swinging at you with like an army of 1,000,000 tokens, sure, I guess it'll keep you alive a turn. But it's not gaining you sort of any particular real advantage. We have a Remnant Elemental. I don't know what it's a remnant of, and I don't really know what its element is. But it is a 0/4 for 2 with reach, and it gets +2/+0 when you landfall. So that's fine enough for your 2 mana. If you're in a landfall deck, you might be able to make this moderately sized every turn. But the reach, you want it to be big on your opponent's turns, and that's much harder to do with landfall. A Seed Ship Impact. So this is a 2-cost, destroy an artifact or enchantment, and make a lander. It's a solid choice if you need an artifact or enchantment specific removal slot, because it has that ramp tacked on it. You could use this early game to counter your opponent's ramp and then get some ramp of your own. It's not a terrible option. We have our rare for the pack, which is this Rust Harvester. It's a 1/1 robot with menace. You can pay 2 and chuck an artifact from your graveyard to put a +1 counter, and then it does some burn or removal damage, which is fun if you're playing artifacts. I wasn't, but it's a fun option. All right, now we're on to the big excitements. Big excitement number 1. I got something from the bonus sheet. This is a very pretty looking scavenger grounds. It is a scavenger thing eating the ground of this poor planet that was. It's a very trippy sort of a creature as well. Like, what's going on with its? Has it got like a gap in its skeleton there? What is this? I don't know, but it looks nice. The actual land is very meh. It's like a desert themed Bajuka bog. If you're playing deserts, sure. It has no set symbol on it, which a lot of people didn't like. You can see rarity-wise, it is a rare. It says there's an R there, but lots of people didn't like that it doesn't have a set symbol. I don't mind. I know what set it's from, but then this is the first time I've ever opened boosters from, so that shouldn't surprise you. I need to have a drink as well, because I've been talking for an hour. We are having just a normal own brand fake Pepsi Max today. Nothing particularly special. Alright, our last card from this pre-release, and the thing that I'm most excited by, we have another mythic. It's a foily shiny mythic. This is Evendo, Waking Heaven. This is a planet land. It enters tapped and taps for green on its own. If you can station it for 12 charge counters, then it taps, you pay a green and tap, and it adds 1 green for each creature you control. So if you are going wide, you have lots of weenies, which you don't necessarily mind tapping to station this, and it taps for ungodly amounts of mana. And it looks gorgeous. This is the... Ruboroid is probably the most powerful card that I have pulled today. This is the card that is by far and away the prettiest, the one that I'm most excited at just looking at it. I can't show the foiling off quite so easily on camera, but it is absolutely a gorgeous thing to have. I'm so excited by this. Like, the planets all look really good. A lot of the land, this is a very landy set. A lot of the lands look really good, and this is just such a nice looking thing to have. So I'm very happy that I got this. And that is all of the cards that I had available to make a deck with and play in the pre-release. And what I did was what I probably should have done was kind of look at my piles, look at my guide uncommons, signpost uncommons, and probably gone with like something, I don't know, red black maybe, or looked at the pile sizes and seen like what cards do I have the most of. But what I did instead was I was like, oh, I have a fun fancy green mythic. Oh, I have a fun fancy green mythic. We're definitely playing green. and I looked at the archetypes that I could easily match up with green. I was like, well, I've got some red things that make lander tokens. I've been excited by lander tokens since they were announced. I'm playing green-red and making lander tokens. So it wasn't necessarily the most sensible decision-making process, but onto the record, I won my very first game at my very first pre-release, which was great. You play best of 3. I then lost the next 4 games, which means I lost match 1 and I lost match 2. I lost match 1 2-1 and I lost match 2 2-0. And that was a shame. And what I did was, after match 2, because you're allowed to sort of sideboard in anything else from your pre-release throughout the time, and so what I did was, where was it? So this was in. I sideboarded in the Pinnacle kill ship in case I just really needed to kill an enemy threat. That didn't come up. I also sideboarded. I sideboarded out Terminal Velocity because it just was. It's just a really useless card. I don't even think it's that useful of a card in Constructed, like Commander, but it's a very useless card in Militant. Sideboarded that out. Where was the not spaceship that I said was particularly useless? Was it in this pile? No, was it in this pile? Yes, the Survey Mechan, I sideboarded that out because that was totally useless. And I put in I put in the shiny Diplomatic Relation, because I was just like, I'm already high on non-creature spells, but I just need more removal. And then with those changes made, I managed to win the last match of the pre-release. Which, obviously I would have liked to win more, but for my first pre-release, my first time playing with this set at all, having not looked up in advance, like, what are the archetypes, what are the good picks, what are the good strats to play, because I wanted to go into this organically and blind, and experience the space set for myself. I was happy. I was happy with how I did. Who did I play against? Hang on, I need to get me through it again, sorry. Oh, I've had a bit of a cough for the last couple of days. And it's probably also not helping that it's warm in here. So game 1. I was playing against. I think I played against white decks all 3 rounds. Because I definitely played a lot against that guy who makes you the 1/1 soldier. Either way, the first 2 matches I both lost against this one particular spaceship. It's like a 2-drop, and you station it for not very much. It's either 2 or 4, and it's a 2/2 flyer. That destroyed me in several games just because I didn't have enough flying or reach of my own. I definitely played against white-green once. I think I played against white-black once, and I cannot for the life of me remember what the other color identity I played against was. But I had fun all 3 times. I met a nice person who was a bit quiet in round 1. I met round 3 was against somebody else who was also relatively new to pre-releases and Magic. Apparently this was their second pre-release, and that's kind of all they've really done of Magic. So I guess he had a lot more excuse than me for being down at the bottom of the bracket. But played well. Like there were clearly some strategic errors that he made, which is why I won at least one of the games, which was sad, I guess, but is the way of the things. And the match 2, I played against a lovely person who was there with his partner, who wasn't playing but was kind of observing, and is going on to do a PhD designing a rocket engine in September, I think, which was incredibly cool. There were a very lovely couple of people to meet, and very interesting. And that was the pre-release. Apart from, so other information we got. The pre-release packs always come with a little guide. They are making a pre-release deck 101, how many creatures, how many spells, approximate curve, and then you can get lands from the tournament organizer. And then my youngest brother, who I was at the pre-release with, was very kind, and they had a sort of a section in the shop that was like bulk uncommons 10p each. Sorry, bulk commons 10p each, uncommons 20p each, rares £1 each. And my youngest brother was very kind. He went back yesterday because he wanted to look through this bulk, and he got me this. He got me an Itali, one of my favorite Dino boys. He's a good card for one thing, and he's a cool Spinosaurus. What is not to love about Itali? That was such a nice thing that he did. And Itali is one of my favorite cards, one of my favorite like characters. In as much as he's a dinosaur, he doesn't get much characterization. But yeah, just love that. So that was really sweet of him to do that for me. But the other thing from the pre-release is who's the other chat token? Another thing from the pre-release is for participating in the tournament, we were all given an extra pack. So we're gonna do a thing that I've not done before. I'm going to open a booster pack live on stream, because that's what Magic content creators do, right? They open booster packs live. I'm not sure about this, because like, you know, I'm a bit iffy with booster packs. And like, it's one thing where you're kind of doing a sealed or a draft, and you've got a game mode that is designed around your opening of things. But I've got it, and it's here, and I'm on stream, and I have an hour and 3/4 to kill. So we're gonna open the old pack. We're gonna see what's in it. We have no hopes nor expectations, though there might be something interesting inside. So I'm gonna pull it out this way up. We're gonna see that we have a token, because we do. It's a drone. It's a 1/1 drone, and it's a black lander on the other side. I would have liked to get a full set of the landers. That would have been fun. We are going to flip it over. We have another Gene Pollinator. We actually only got like one duplicate out of all of those 6 packs, which was the Diplomatic Relations, and that was a duplicate in the same pack, which is wild to me. But yeah, we've got another Gene Pollinator. We have another Starport Security. We have another Depressurize. Okay, this is just all... I said we only got one duplicate out of all those 6 packs, because all of the duplicates apparently were in here. We have another Ilvoy Light Jammer. We have another Melded Moxite. Okay, this is a new boy to us though. Ice Cave Crasher. He is a 4/4 trample for 4, and he gets 1 bigger when you landfall. That is pretty fun as a common. I would have loved to have him in the deck when I eventually beat. We have another Pinnacle Killship. We have a Nanoform Sentinel. A 3-cost 3/2. When it becomes tapped, untap another permanent. Sure. That's fun. You station you station a spacecraft for something, you station a spacecraft with him, you untap the thing that you wanted to station the spacecraft with, if you like. Nice. Alright, here are our uncommons. We have another Bygone Colossus. This is an incredible pack just for how much there is that is repeatable. We have another Dubious Delicacy. Our food kill spell. If I was playing a food deck, I would seriously consider this. I might recommend this to Shaka for their melody. Oh, we have a Harmonious Grove Strider, who's a beast with what the hell? Like, anatomically speaking, what the hell is going on there? It's got like veins through its neck, and it's got the clavicles from hell that extend sort of several feet out in front of its shoulders. What the heck is going on? Let's see. It's power toughness equal to the number of lands. This is something I could have run in the deck as well, and it would have been good. And it's got Ward 2 and it costs 5. It's a Marrow for 5 in Ward 2. It's fun. That's a nice card. That's a nice card to have. Oh. Our rare for the pack is the Infinite Guideline Station. It's the only multicolor legendary spacecraft in the whole of the base set. It is a Wooburg 5 cost spacecraft. When it enters, you create a tapped 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token for each multicolored permanent you control. So it's a 5 color card that wants you to be playing lots of multicolored stuff. And then when you station it up to 12, it is a 7/15 flyer. With when it attacks, you draw a card for each multicolored permanent you control. This is a genuine like commander option. This is an interesting build around for commander. It's a little bit Niv Mizzet like, in that you want to be running just lots and lots of multicolor stuff. This is a fun card to have. Maybe I will have to build a deck around this at some point, having just drawn this. That's really fun. And I said I didn't have enough spacecraft. Well, here's a spacecraft for me, and it's a fun spacecraft to have as well. Alright, now at the back we have our wild card slots. So these can be any rarity, one's foil, one's not. We have a foil Grove Strider! This continues to be the pack of duplicates. But it's pretty. This one you can kind of see the foiliness on that sky. That's very lovely. Oh, did I miss? Did we already have one of the wild cards? Maybe I missed it. But we got a different forest. There's all glowy nebula clouded castles. Also very pretty. That was a fun pack. This is the problem with booster packs, is they are deliberately, they're quite addictive. They're like gambling. In fact, they are gambling, let's be honest. The only difference with this is I didn't particularly pay for this. I paid for these, but I was part of the pre-release event game. But yeah, buying booster packs is basically just gambling, and you shouldn't do it at home. But that was a fun pack to open. It was a fun experience to open it and just be like, oh, this is where all of the duplicates were. But also, this is a fun boy. This is a fun boy. This is a foil fun boy. That's nice. That's really nice. Also, all of the spacecraft. So because they are frameless. The planets are frameless as well, so the art sort of extends a little bit beyond. They're just nice to look at. In the lore, the Infinite Guideline Station is basically the way interstellar travel works in the Edge is there's these what are they called? Well, call them monuments because I can't remember what they are called. There's these monuments that the Federation style faction, which is Pinnacle, they know how to make, and no one else really does. So they go to places and they make them. And part of the deal with them getting this technology from the people who invented it was that they have to go to places like Sodra and the Dying Systems, and they have to set up an evacuation and see it, and they have to help everybody get all of their people out, but also the intelligence, the culture, the historic knowledge and stuff out of a place before it goes bang, which is a fun sort of a concept. And then the more or less the climax of the story takes place actually on the Infinite Guideline Station. You can see there's Sodder in the background as well. You can see there's a horde of little spaceships around it, because this thing is pretty big. That's a fun card to have. I'm very happy with how the previous went, even though obviously I lost a lot. It was very fun to go to. Although I've just said don't buy booster packs, I would wholeheartedly recommend people go to events like pre-releases, other sealed nights, because it's just fun seeing cards for the new time and kind of playing a little bit improvised and playing with new people, because obviously I didn't play against anybody else that I ever met. It was just a nice experience to go to. And for my first time, I was obviously not the only person who was new there, but I was made to feel adequately welcome. Nobody sort of you know, nobody was critical of me for being a bit newer, or if I didn't know a rule or a card or what have you. Yeah, I had a good time, and then as it happens, I have some nice shiny things that I've come away from it with. But yeah, pre-release was fun. Would recommend it for people. I'm gonna put all these back. I should really sort them before I put them all back, but I'm not going to. I could actually pull up the deck. So the deck that I made, I think I mentioned, the deck that I made was red-green because I wanted to use lots of lander tokens, and I did use lots of lander tokens. In pretty much every game, I had more mana than Jesus, and then I lost anyway because I didn't have any card. Like the deck thinning was really helpful because when you're just doing a 40-card deck, if you're lander tokening out like 3 or 4, even 6 lands in one game from that 40 cards, you have significantly thinned your deck. You're more likely to draw the things that you want to draw. It's just that I still didn't draw the things that I wanted to draw, because the things I wanted to draw were mostly like a Ruberoid, which was really good, and then like the big flying threats, and I just didn't get them often enough. In hindsight, I think probably a better way to make the deck would have been to go green and white and focus on the counters. Ruberoid would obviously still have been incredibly useful. I think some of the white cards might have been a bit better, but mostly I just lost to flying spaceships, and I just didn't. None of the cards that I really had were good against flying spaceships. So like white would have given me access to some more flying creatures like this boy, which maybe would have helped, but I just didn't have much answer to that. I had my one reach boy. I had the useless 4-cost flyer that wasn't good enough for 2 games, and then I had the pinnacle kill ship, which I didn't draw in the last match. But yeah, so I could show you what my deck list was, because I have it on my phone. Oh, here's my phone. I was about to say I don't know where my phone is. Let me grab a picture and I can probably assemble my deck list for you. So obviously it didn't involve any of these cards. So these can get put away. I've not put them away in order. That's a problem for later me. Boop. Okay, let's have a look. Doesn't help. I don't know which. I don't know which packs everything's come out of. That was in it. That was in it. This was in it at some point. Yes, that was in the final deck. That was in it, because I just needed to make up numbers. Those were in it. Obviously the lander tokens were in it. Well, they weren't in it, but they got used quite a lot. Orbital Plunge was in it. Pretty sure. Yeah, Orbital Plunge was in it. Sammy's Curiosity was in it. The Fate Maker was in it. That was in it at some points. Ruberoid was in it. I guess the Forest was in it. As was the Lander token. We'll put the lands that went into it in a separate pile. What else? Bombard wasn't. Biosynthetic Burst was. I'm pretty sure. Yes, Biosynthetic Burst was. I put it in the wrong place on my reference image. Sky Stinger was. Pinnacle Killship was at some point. Terrapact Intimidator and Research Engineering were. Lander was. You see, like, those last 3 packs have contained a lot of the cards that went into it. Plasma Bolt was. Red Tiger Mechan was, and I didn't draw it once, which is a bit of a shame. That's the Gene Pollinator. The Thorbringer was. Agrarian was. I actually didn't put the Special Swamp in. Welcome on in, Penguin. How's it going? Why does Twitch never tell me you're online? I don't know. That's a terrible thing. If you want a place, that will always tell you when I'm online. you can join the Discord because I do have a setup there to just do that automatically. I have just gone through all of the cards I got from the pre-release, and I've opened a whole new pack because we got a pack to participate in. But I'm just reassembling like what the deck was. The Cav Landseek was in there. The Diplomatic Relations was subbed. This wasn't in there, but in hindsight, it really should have been because it's a solid flyer. Really should have put that in. Meltshred's Resolve wasn't. Because I had some cards that cared about land names, I did weirdly put the 1 planes in. I was gonna put in the 1 planes and the 1 swamp, and I didn't because I was worried about being color screwed. In hindsight, I definitely could have got away with putting the swamp in, but also it was only 2 cards, and then I subbed one of them out, and then it was only 1 card, so it wasn't worth it to put in the other cards. The Nebula Dragon was in. This one was it the first? It must have been the first game. This one, and it just dropped, and it was a flying 4/4 late in the game, killed an enemy threat, and then swung in for lethal. Intrepid Tenderfoot was like the workhorse. This guy and the Siege Ship Agrarian, and then Thorbringer. I got them in a lot of games that they put in so much work. Sky Stinger was huge because it basically every time I drew it, it killed some important flyer that they were just so big. Meltshred Eula just didn't do anything for me. And then obviously the other land token. But I mentioned at the start, this guy has a landfall ability. So when he becomes tapped, he makes a land token, and then he has a landfall ability. I did not read this landfall ability, and I did not put any +1 counters on this creature until the last match. I played him in every match. I played him in almost every game, and I didn't put any of the gosh darn +1 counters on him, and that might have made a huge difference if I had. That might have made a really big difference, because the difference between a 3/3 and a 4/4 is actually huge when you're playing against black, which has a lot of -3/-3s. And even red has a lot of ways of dealing 3 damage specifically. And yeah, that was a big oopsie on my part. It might have genuinely cost me that first match. I don't know. I don't think it would have made a difference in the second match, because that was just flyer death both times. Like I got walked over in the second match. I was totally destroyed. It was really embarrassing. The rounds were like 40-ish minute times, and match 1 and match 3 we finished comfortably before the deadline, but not with enough time to sort of wait around. But match 2 we were done in 20 minutes, if that. That was including introductions and then 2 games. I just got wrecked. But yeah, so these are all the boys. Aurobroid was standout when I got him. Social Engineering was great when I got it. Nebula Dragon was pretty helpful when I drew it. Terrapact Intimidator, I played him 2, maybe 3 times across the pre-release. Every single time I got given 2 lander tokens. Every single time, that was really good for me. He did a lot of work. Diplomatic Relations, the one match I had it for was useful. Gene Pollinator was not that useful, but occasionally I got some lander tokens out of these 2. But it was never going to be wonderful. Cav Landseeker was pretty consistent for me. Was fun. Plasma Bolt I consistently killed something with. Never drew this guy. This was a helpful combat trick when it came up. It never changed the game, but it consistently killed a threat. Yeah, that's the summary. I played against this guy. I never played with this guy. Yeah, so some really helpful, good useful cards. Cards were great when I got them, but I didn't get them very consistently. And then there were other cards in the deck. Sometimes they did things. It was fun just grabbing out the random planes. People were like, "Oh, there's a splash," and then just having to explain, "No, that planes is just there for these 2 cards. They're not even that wonderful." But it's I think it slightly messed with people thinking, "Oh, there could be white removal spells coming," because I got the planes out in quite a few games, and obviously at no point actually. So at no point did I ever get to use his second ability. It's one of the reasons why I subbed it out. And then the one, maybe 2 times that I cast Fungal Colossus, I absolutely could have afforded to play it whether or not I had this planes. So, yeah. You know, it was fine. But yeah. Evendo got me a few taps on things that wanted to be tapped once or twice. It says 10, good lord, that's too much. Yep, as it turns out, it really, really is. And the body it's attached to is so completely underwhelming and pointless. This is a real disappointment card. And even then, the upside, like I said, like the upside of his ability is 3 damage to a target, draw 3, gain 3 life. It's not that wonderful. Like, it's not game-changing even on its own. And then it's 10 mana with a discount, and then it's attached to a disappointing body. It just didn't thrill me. Which is sad, but I guess you learn by doing. And like I said, I had a great time. Oh, my throat! Goodness gracious. Excuse me. It is 20 to 2. I might take a little break so I can just grab some more water. I'm going to pack up all the cards that were from the deck. And I'm going to keep them separate to the rest of the cards from the packs. I just need to oops, take this out so I can keep all the pop outs and dice in there. Oh, there we go. And yeah, I'll need to come back to these and sort them at some point, but that is not a job for on the stream. Oh, and Penguin, you were not here when I showed off, but my youngest brother got me a nice gift from the store's bulk rares. It's one of my favourite dinosaur boys, which I love. I love him to bits. He's gorgeous, he's great. What's he from? MKC. Murders of Karlov Manor Commander, presumably? Yes, that looks like a little dagger on that set symbol. Also, got the close focus on this camera. I'm so used to my old camera, which has such garbage close focus. This is so nice by comparison. Being able to just hold this up when you guys can actually read it. But yeah, we love Italy Boy. He's going in here because I don't have any other place to put him, but he doesn't really belong in here exactly. But he's going in there for now. And yeah, that was the pre-release. Oh, I forgot to say it has a guide to all the planets from the setting. So the green planet, the Humidian planet, is Evendo. An icy world with lush jungles throwing beneath its surface. Uthros is the gas giant, with curious secrets at its core. Adagia, that's the white planet. Well defined by its powerful winds, thin atmosphere, and massive ringed solar arrays. So that's where the summists live. Sussa Secundii, excuse you, do you mind? Sussa Secundii, or maybe Susa Secundii, is the planet closest to Sothera, where the monoists live because it's near their black hole. Caveron, where the indigenous species live, which they blew up. Prospect to Grim for what remains, and Sothera. Once a star, now a collapsing superplanet. So yeah, that was the previous. That was a lot of fun. I'll be doing something after I come back. It'll be Magic themed. I don't know exactly what it's going to be yet, but it'll be after the break. Like I say, I really need to grab a break. So I'll be back in a little bit. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, grab drinks and such as you need. And yeah, I'll see you shortly. Hello everyone, I am back. I can see that the playlist has ended while I've been gone, which is hopefully slightly inconvenient. Hopefully it's good timing even. But if not, it's slightly inconvenient. But that's fine. We can have some more space music. Music is provided by Breaking Copyright, who do royalty-free music, and presumably I'm not actually breaking copyright by doing it because they say that you can. Let's find another playlist. I think they had another playlist that's sort of loosely spacey. I am trying and failing to find it on their list though. But yeah, I hope you all had a lovely little break. Hope you all got all the things that you need to get. We get an evil music playlist. Maybe we'll get an evil music playlist. We have a technology music. I think this is all going to be electronic-y. Maybe. We'll go for evil and epic. Music should be starting up. Yeah, what I figure that we're gonna do. So let's put the camera back on so you can say hi to Busy Hands. Say hi to the team. Yeah, what I think we're probably gonna do is I'm gonna open up Scribe 4. I'm actually just gonna do a thing that I was meaning to do anyway, which is have a look at the. It's a bit loud. Have a look at the cards from the set, because I've not had a good detailed look at the whole set. I don't know what other cards are in it. So we're probably going to do that. I will need to figure out where my capture is for Chrome, although it seems like I don't have one. That's fine. In theory. That'll let me get set up and prepared. While you guys keep an eye on these two while I'm busy working on that. I'm not sure. What is the set code for the spell sheet? EOS. Apparently. There we go. Eternities Stellar Sights. Okay, so let's have a look at the old Stellar Sights cards first, because they're all pretty, but they're not going to do very much necessarily. Window capture. There we go. All right. Well, you can just about see the bottom of me and Little Dizzy. Hang on, I need to put it in the right place. There we go. Alright. Put these two at the bottom. So you can kind of see them. There we are. Yeah, so Stellar Sights, they're all really pretty looking, which is, I guess, kind of the obvious thing. Let's actually just look at that. I know I said you can see them at the bottom, but actually, I want to have the ability to muck around and accidentally get my face in the way if I need to. Vegas says, Jesus, the lands are just silly looking, or the choice of lands they have is silly. I like I said, I haven't looked at it. I assume there's going to be some really solidly good lands in here. Ancient Tomb, I think, is sort of quite a competitive land. They all have this little spaceship swooshing over them. I hadn't realized that. I assumed it was just the ones where it was kind of like relevant to the image. Oh, excuse me. My throat is still a little sore, a little dry. Yeah, Ancient Tomb is sort of supposed to be relevant. Blast Zone is nice board wipe on a land. Can I get a full? Yes, okay. I can look at them in bigger. There we go. I love all of these arts pretty much. I think we'll see as we go on. Blinkmoth Nexus is one that is supposed to be sort of an interesting, useful land. I'm not super sure why. I guess it's because it's like a relatively cheap creature land, and it's also an artifact creature land. Apparently Blinkmoth is a creature type. I wonder if it is a creature type on anything other than this card. Bonder's Enclave? It's a draw in the land zone, I guess. Oh, this is so pretty! Oh, so this one's got like a gold siding, whereas these have more sort of thingy siding. I wonder why that is. I wonder if the siding is actually colours. Because this is like a gold land. This would make, whereas these would be grey lands. So I wonder if that's why it's got the gold siding. It's indestructible, and it can fix 5 mana at a time, or it taps the colourless. It's not wonderful, but it looks so pretty. We have a Cathedral of War, which is a fantastic name. I also like that they're using these as an opportunity to show off like other bits of the Edge of Eternity setting beyond the Software system. Like none of these are things from Software. They're just sort of generic spacey things like this. Is that a guy in there? I think that is a guy in there. He's got like a hand and an arm, and then this is his back and this is his head. That's horrifying. I love that they've really gone like, we can go crazy with what happens in space with this set. Yeah, Cathedral of War. Oh, it's got exalted on a land. That is interesting. If you are playing a deck where this is relevant, that's really nice to have on a land. Oh look, it's a white blue and it's got the white blue siding. That's so good looking. This also looks quite person-like. You've got a head and a body, and maybe this is. Oh yeah, it can turn into a creature. This must be deliberately a person. That's fun. Becomes a 4/4 with flying and vigilance, which is fairly solid for a creature land. Contested Warzone. Moves around the battlefield as people do damage to you. If you've got a deck that wants to give stuff to your opponents, I guess it's not terrible. But it does also mean you're down a land when that happens. Oh, this is pretty. There's a blue-black, and it also becomes a creature. There's a lot of planets in this universe that turn into creatures, apparently. That's a scary thought. We've got a Crystal Quarry, which is almost... functionally, it's almost identical to this. Except it gives you specifically Wooburg, as opposed to any combination of colours. Oh yeah, these are just big old space asteroid crystals. A deserted temple? Sure. I guess this is basically colour fixing by another name. But if you run your bounce lands or Forgotten Temple or something, it's quite neat. It is a neat world building concept, King Gull. I'd love to see that if and when we come back to the Edge, because I think it's been quite a popular set, and popular sets are the ones that are more likely to be revisited. So if and when we come back, I wonder if that will be more of a theme. I think that'll be a good space to explore. Plus, of course, having like the planets be an explicit part of the story is a good way to make it feel spacey. Dust Bowl. Well, that's a bowl. I don't think it's full of dust, though. Um, it's a non-basic land destruction in exchange for land, but interesting, it's not in exchange for this land. It's repeatable. This actually could go in like this could go in a World Shapers type land sacrifice deck because it is repeatable land destruction. Oh, this is pretty. Echoing Deeps is like a black hole and then some sort of synthwave lines. Ooh. And it copies a land in the graveyard. We have an Eldrazi temple. We love that there's nods to the Eldrazi. That's also a plot thread that they could pull up in a future Edge of Eternities return, which I think would be quite popular. Tap for 2 colorless if it's for Eldrazi's. Endless Sands. Also, I think it's interesting that they specify only to cast colorless Eldrazi spells. Are there any not colorless Eldrazi spells? Can I open a quick new window? Oh! Well, okay, these aren't really colorless spells. This is a colored Eldrazi spell. These are transforming permanents that are colored on one side and then colors on the other side. But you don't cast them as a colored Eldrazi spell. Oh, I guess there are some. Weird. That's so odd to me that there's a not colorless Eldrazi spell. How odd. Anyway, this is also a fun. This would be a fun place to explore as a setting. This is very sort of Star Wars Dune type feeling, with a little kind of very industrial feeling little skimmery boy. And then this one is over the text. It's not even over the typeline, it's over the text. That's actually very annoying to have that there. I don't like that. What does it do? Exile target creature you control and brings them back. It's really crappy Blink, and as Penguin said, it's awful formatting. But it looks nice. The actual art of the card looks nice. This would be a pretty thing to have. Gemstone Caverns is interesting, much more relevant in Limited, where you have a much higher chance of having it in your opening hand if you pull it. Grove of the Burn Willows. It's the kind of pain land. It's not a pain land. It's the opponent's gain 1 life land, which I hate much less than a pain land, even though it's approximately the same. It says ready pops off and proliferate. Does it? Gemstone Caverns? It doesn't matter how many you have on it, does it? Just if it has a luck counter on it, instead add 1 mana. There are some charge counter type lands which I think do pop off and proliferate. I think a Gemstone Mine. Oh, maybe there'll be a Gemstone Mine, but I think this searching off I think it's maybe not. This is so pretty to look at, and again it works well with the coloured side. High Market is a sack outlet on a land. Sure. Hissing Quagmire. Oh. This looks like a lizard. Oh, it's gonna be an elemental creature. It's another creature land. That's fun. That's really fun. I love how they've incorporated it into the planet's design. Like you almost don't notice originally. Like it looks like a planet, but you're like, that's an eye and a mouth, and that's a leg, and that's an arm. That's fun. They've done some really fun things with this bonus sheet. I'm glad I got something out of this bonus sheet. That some of them aren't even that expensive. It's going for like 33 cents. I mean, I guess it's not a popular land, but very fun. Inkmoth Nexus as opposed to a Blinkmoth Nexus. Okay, so this is also a Blinkmoth creature. But this is the one that has flying in effect. So this is maybe this is what I was thinking when I thought the Blinkmoth Nexus was relevant. It's this one that's relevant. I'm curious as to what a Blinkmoth or an Inkmoth is in the context of the Edge of Eternities setting. Are there any actual cards? Oh, I forgot. There's the other versions of the Stellar Suns. I'll have to go back and have a look at those. Are there any actual? No, there are no printed cards with the Amulet type. Okay, let's quickly have a skim of the alternative version. So I can only do one at a time. That's fine. And I also misclicked, which is also annoying. When we do the next page, we'll do them. We'll look at the ones like as we come to them, so that I don't have to do this because this is awkward. Yeah, none of these particularly are lands that I'd love to use for them being lands, but a lot of them, they've all pretty much looked really pretty so far. I don't like the style, the box style of this half of the bonus sheet anywhere near as much. I think the siding makes it look a lot prettier, and this just looks kind of quite plain and boring. This art is fine. It's a different art style. This looks great. It doesn't look tremendously spacey, but the art looks grand. This feels more. Whereas these ones feel like they are sort of a special bonus sheet treatment, this, because it's all sort of full art and textbooks is quite understated, feels more almost Secret Lair-esque. Maybe also with the different art style as well. Oh, these are our blink moths, aren't they? Oh, they're a bit goopy. They're fun. There's a critter who looks very classic retro sci-fi. Our cataracts, they don't look very cascading to me, but what the hell is going on with this planet? It's got like a bit in the middle, and then there's floating continents? That's an interesting concept. A space cathedral? This feels appropriate for sci-fi, especially with the double suns. Or maybe double moons. This is too abstract for me. This is also a bit abstract. Like, why does the planet look like this? I like this, the crystal cloak. This is a good art. This feels like it could have been on one of these cards as well. It's fun. I get that there's big planets in the background, but it's still not feeling spacey. This one's alright. I'm not getting a sense of our land from this. It feels like the spaceship is almost the actual focus, more than the scenery is. This is good though. Again, it's a shame about the quite understated text box, but this picture of the temple is good looking. I think it's interesting that in both representations, the Eldrazi temples are very clearly like pyramids. I don't know if that's a thing that the classic Eldrazi would do. I guess I can look back. Oh yeah, look, lots of triangles. In the old art. More triangles. Okay, yes, they're very triangle pyramid ones. This is good art for a card called Endless Sands, but again, it's not very spacey. Like, I know we're technically in space, but this doesn't feel like a space for me. This just feels fantasy-ish. This just feels fantasy-ish, and I like it a lot less than the other one. Bingo says, Eldrazi associated with Hedrons, a Magitech created to act as a prison for them. I didn't think I knew that. I knew what Hedron. I've seen Hedrons on cards before. I didn't realise they were prisons for Eldrazi. That's cool. This is a fun art, I guess. This again is a good art for a card called Hissing Fog, but doesn't feel very spacey. They've just kind of slapped a spaceship into it. This is again too abstract for me. Alright, let's have a look. So we've got an Inventor's Fair, which is a good land to have. This is a lovely image. And then this is fine. Inventor's Fair is a really useful land if you are like it's permanent life gain if you have artifacts, which is nice, and then it tutors for an artifact card, which is a nice thing to have on the land. I'm not big on running tutors, but I'd consider running this in a very artifacty deck. Bengan says some weird thing like they either reinforce ley lines or trap Eldrazi in conceptual space. Ooh. This is so pretty! Look at this! And again, it works so well with the. Look at this! That looks so good. This is another animated land. What does this become? Again, this is a good Lava Claw Reaches art. It's not the very spacey art, but this would be a fun thing to have as well. This looks so good. This looks so good. It's so pretty. Oh, this is such a weird one as well. It's like when it enters, you sacrifice 2 lands, and it enters tapped, but it taps for 3 mana of any one color. It's an interesting and odd land. I don't care for that at all. Lumbering Falls is another land that animates itself. This one is fine, and this is also fine. Got a mana confluence. Lovely streaks of like mana across the planet, which is fun. And then again, this is probably good art for a mana confluence land, but not a very spacey art. This is so good looking. There's just this whole bonus sheet actually just looks brilliant. All of the ones that like this. Again, this is a bit abstract for me. But a mirror pool. Oh, these planets look very close to this water. I'm not super sure what's going on here, like physically and mechanically speaking, but it's a very cool looking art. You can pay a colorless as you do some things and sacrifice it, copy spells. Copy creatures, which is interesting. This just doesn't feel very mirror-y, but I guess it's spacey. This one, I know people are very excited about Mutavault being reprinted. It's fine enough on the land. I would run this in my Dalek because it needs Daleks. Because the commander has affinity for Daleks, and there's very few Daleks in the world. So this is the land I'd run. I'm not in love with either of the arts, but I like them more than any of these arts that I'm seeing down here for the existing ones. So, still an improvement. Raymond says it's a land that can become busted quickly. I'm curious how you break this. Because, like, just becoming a creature seems not exciting or special. Oh, I need to sneeze, hang on. Oh dear, excuse me, goodness. Blair, very sneezy. Coffee and sneezy today. It's not a good sign, especially for the middle of summer. Game says I can slap Angel on it and give it an Enlightenment counter, which stops me losing the game. Oh, so I guess it's a lot more, being a land for most of the time, it's a lot more sturdy and resilient than an actual Angel is. Okay, I can see that, I guess. A Mystifying Maze, which is an interesting it blinks. It stops an attack basically with a opponent's creature. Oh, did I look at the? I didn't read for that. Again, this doesn't feel very mazy or very spacey. This is very ominous. This is very ominous from this art. Needle spines. It's a nice looking piece of art. This is one of the few ones in this side of the bone machine that I think doesn't look perhaps spacey enough for me. Oh no, I don't want card market, I want this. This is even less spacey, so you know we've got a consistent theme. Nesting grounds, sure. I do like nesting grounds as a land. This is a land that I could play. This kind of looks fun. I love these weird creatures with like flower heads. I have no idea what the hell they're supposed to be, but they look fun. I'd love to meet those. This is one of the few ones where I like this up. This is also perfectly good looking thing. Petrified Field. Sacrifice a standard turn land cast from the sure. Oh, this is good art. This is like really good retro sci-fi. Who drew this? W. Fleming illustration. I assume they haven't done any of the others. So it looks markedly. No, they did this one, which I liked. Did they do all of them? No. Okay, so this artist apparently makes art mode. And he says, "Oh, that's Soviet AF." I guess it is. This is a fun. Again, it's a shame that the text box is lackluster, but the art is really nice. Plaza of Heroes. I love the land Plaza of Heroes. I would have been very happy to actually pull this. I didn't realize they were reprinting this one. It's not very Plaza-y. This is a bit more Plaza-y and is noticeably less spacey. But these are it's a fun card. Again, these are lands that I actually run. Because it's just good in Commander. Because like, what do you want card mana for? Well, to cast your Commander if it's the early game, and then you probably have your Commander out, and it's a legendary permanent. It's just good in Commander. It doesn't even enter tapped. We have a power depot. It's got a face. That's spooky. This is like Unicron. If Unicron was a slightly badly carved Halloween pumpkin. And this is color fixing for artifacts. And it's also got modular, which is really interesting on a land. Because obviously lands don't die very often. This, actually, I quite approve of this. It's sci-fi. Again, it's not very spacey. It's quite sci-fi, the shapes of these sort of weird flying things. This feels quite Dune to me. That's actually expensive. Yeah. Raging Ravine is a planet bursting open, which I quite like. This is one that turns into a creature. Sure. Oh, a reflecting pool. This is another land that I love as a land. So it's nice to see it being reprinted. It's got a big spaceship in the text box, but luckily it's not actually getting in the way. It looks quite chill and nice. And then I guess there's a reflection happening. Sure. Scavenger Grounds, this is the one that we got. Like, I think this looks really good. Oh, this looks really good as well, this art. I love this. These look almost like Dark Elder-y kind of ships. The sort of the planet that's kind of being stretched and splurged out into its own ring. That's really cool. Okay, both versions of this card. This is tremendously ominous. It's got little eyes on the core, and then there's sort of a circle of things around it. I love that. Oh, this is very like synthwave. Oh, I like this. I like this. We have a Stirring Wildwood, which is not tremendously spacey, but the border still looks nice. This border just looks nice. And then this is, again, it's just like a picture they've thrown a spaceship. Okay, I love the strip line. This is a gorgeous looking card. It's also a good card in general. Like, it's for land removal, it's pretty solid. You can see it's banned in a format and restricted in another format because it's a solid card. We do, Bengen, we do. This is very Death Star Trench feel to it. I dislike this less than I dislike it. I don't actually know how many there are. Okay, we're on the last page. This is such a nice looking piece of art. Again, not super duper spacey, but it just looks so nice. Oh, this isn't. I don't think I've ever seen this card before either. 2 mana, chosen color. Spend it only to activate abilities of land sources. How odd. And then this is a perfectly fine Sunken Citadel, but again, not tremendously spacey. Swarmyard, which is a fun land, and it's nice to see it reprinted again. This is good for the spidery and squirrely decks among us. Not super feeling the spaceness again. And not feeling the swarmness or the spaceness for this. I guess this is supposed to be some like space whale thing. Oh, this looks good. Hey, I know this guy. That's Hearthull. That's Hearthull from the precons. He's in this card as well. This is fun. I like this. What does it do? For the basic land from your hand on the battlefield tapped. Okay, it's a sort of a different style of ramp on the land. Huh. Sure. Thespian stage. This is very nice sort of sci-fi-ness. This is sort of the heroes attend an opera in space opera. You're gonna have like Anakin and Palpatine sitting over here somewhere talking about Darth Plagueis the Wise. Oh, and this is good. This is very Interstellar Song Contest. I like this. And then our last one from this bonus sheet, we have a Wandering Fumarole, which is another animated land. It's a big sort of cloud that is gonna eat these guys. I like this art quite a lot. This is probably a better spacey art. And the lackluster border feels a little less lackluster. It's got color, the 2 colors going on. Is there something everyone has seen by Giant Space Market? I would love to like run. I know I've said this before about Bloomburrow. I'd love to run like an RPG set in Bloomburrow. I'd love to run an RPG game or one-shot set in the Edge of Eternities. It's such a fun setting. And there's so much you can do with it. Okay, so I'm loving basically everything on the first half of the bonus sheet. Less excited by this half, but there's some really good ones. Alright, so we have our rares and our mythics. I think I'm going to look at the rares first. We got 40 minutes. That should be enough to cover like about 100 cards. Like I said, the Planeswalker guides exist for a reason. That's true, they do. Sadly they haven't, like, they used to do like plane shift books for like explicitly adapting Magic settings into D&D worlds, but they haven't, to my knowledge, done one in ages, which is a bit of a shame. We have an anti. Can I do this in the same way? Spelling full. You see, fewer at a time, but they're bigger. So we got an Eldrazi. I'll token Eldrazi for setting as Eldrazi in it. It's got a warp, but it's got a leaves the battlefield trigger on the warp instead of an enters trigger on the warp. You get to put a free permanent out when it leaves, so that's pretty solid. But again, like, you know, if you've got that many lands, you can probably put the permanent out by casting it. Arch Enemy's Charm. Oh, this is the Arch Charm cycle that they're doing. So this is the 3 black mana one. Exile something. Return things from graveyard to hand. Or counters and lifelink. Sure. For 3 cost removal, it's fine if I'm in mono black. I wouldn't necessarily play it in anything else. With the 3 black pips, and it doesn't do like the removal on it is not that great if you have access to any other colors. You can generally get removal for better. And the other abilities aren't ones I'm going to use that often on this. Asteli Reclaimer. So the Asteli are born from like dying stars. They're this setting's equivalent to angels. And they are important for the Summist religion, the white religion. You can see them here, they're leading some Summist troops. It's a 5/4 flyer. Recurs something to the battlefield. And you can warp it, so you can get 2 things back. This is not bad. You can get a 3 cost back and a 5 cost back. And obviously you get also a 5/4 flyer. Yeah, that's pretty solid. A board wipe that also hits spacecraft. Bioengineered future. Makes your lander token straight away. Each creature joins with an additional +1 counter for each land that enters the battlefield under your control this turn. This is fun in a landfall deck. I like that. Just in general, like I can't see this set and not think, God, I really want to play like a green-ready landfall deck, which is lucky because I've already ordered the World-Shaped Precon, which is a good basis for a Jund landfall deck. But I've never been excited by landfall in the way that I have been by this set. I think it's because it's the combination of the spacey feel of it and also the fact that landfall is pretty solid in the deck. Because there was landfall in Final Fantasy, and it just didn't thrill me. Like, it was a lot of small creatures that tend to mostly just get bigger because it's all the chocobo tokens. I was like, nah, I'm not fussed by that. But this is landfall that I can get behind. A boy who makes a land token. When you sacrifice an artifact, it deals damage to an opponent. Sure. We got our shock lands, we got Corral, which we drew, pulled, I should say. Consult the star charts. 2 costs with a kicker. Look and sort of filter a draw according to how many lands you have, sure. Cosmoglyph. I saw somebody pull this. It's equal to the number of cards you own in exile. Its toughness is equal to that number +1. I don't know what it would be, but I would love to have a... Because I love my Exile Matters and Cast from Exile deck. It's a real shame this isn't a legendary creature. Because I'd love to have some sort of a green-black Exile Matters deck. One day I'd like to do like a full 36 decks that are all Exile Matters. Like one in every possible color combination. That's a bit of a pipe dream for now, but this would be a fun thing to put in 1 or 2 of those. Alert, Cosmoglyph. Recommended action, run. PSS, Eric's shipboard computer, final transmission. Oh dear. Yeah, I love that they brought in some like very classic, iconic Magic creature types for this set. I know that for the people who are very invested in Magic, it made it feel more Magic-y. But even to me, who's not that invested in Magic, like I love the continuity through line for these existing creature types in the new setting. Oh, this is a weird... This is made out of bent spoons, like the 13th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver. This is actually a legendary. Enters with +1 counter sequence to another mana spent to cast it. Okay, so that's interesting in that because it's a legendary and it doesn't mind the command attacks. Whenever you attack, you remove a +1 counter from each of 2 creatures you control. So draw a card and make a 2/2. Okay, interesting. I don't think I'd run that as a commander. but it's there. It's obviously with the mana spent to cast it. It's obviously designed to be a commander because it's not just X plus one counters. Whenever one will come at to play, draw a card and lose a life. Okay. And it makes you a token, sure. I saw somebody draw this at the pre-release. It likes having expensive artifacts. If you want an effect of this type, you probably generally want number of artifacts you control. Like, almost all artifact decks care about number of artifacts rather than fewer expensive artifacts. So I think this is going to struggle to find niche. Oh, this is a fun spaceship. It doesn't look like a spaceship really, but I love the art, whatever it has going on with it. It's a 4-cost, it does nothing on its own, but if you station it for even 1, it does discard synergies, and then at 8+, it's a 3/10 Flying Death Touch. And it makes people discard cards, and you lose the life even if you don't discard. Okay, sure. If you're playing discards, then yeah, it's a good card. A colorless spaceship, which is a big old cannon. Just a really big cannon. 8 mana to destroy something that isn't a creature, and then board wipe most creatures, and then at 5+, it's a 10/10. Sure. A 10/10 flying trample, like that's solid. 8 mana is maybe prohibitively expensive a lot of the time. But it's nice that it both wipes creatures and hits a non-creature. My music has stopped. There we go. Let's get that back. Frenzy Bailoff, a lot of people are very excited by this. It's just, it does too much for 2 mana. It's a 3/2, which is already good for 2 mana. And then it has trample and haste and a bunch of abilities. It just does too much for what it is. Like, I don't even really want it. I know at higher levels, like, uncountering is really important. But, like, I don't even want it, and it does too much for what it costs. Penguin says, I pulled one the other day to Paladin has green flash creatures. Interesting. We have a little Simic insect boy whose landfall is a 1/3 flyer. Gives a thing base power toughness 3/3 or 6/6. Yeah, okay. In a landfall deck, that's going to be very helpful. Again, I'm not making a Simic landfall deck, so it's not relevant. But yeah, in a landfall deck, that's going to be very useful. Especially if you make him a 6/6. He's a 6/6 flyer. Another shark. I should say, sharks are objectively very good lands, and people who are good at Magic put them in their competitive decks. I hate shark lands. I wouldn't normally choose to play this. They're not the worst lands. Like, it's better this than the pain lands that you can only tap for mana if you pay life. But I still wouldn't choose to use these. Halia, she's one of our main characters. She's a pure white 3/3. Gain life on creature or artifact entry, and then draw if you've gained life. A very classic life gain type deck is not going to do anything unusual, I don't think. Hardlight Containment, that's a really good rate. This is an O-ring for a creature, and it's Ward 1. Oh, but it's on an artifact you control, which is weird. There's something like this. There's Chains of Custody, I think is a common. There's this, but it's Ward 2, and it costs 3, and it's a common. So this is a good rate for what it does, but you have to put it onto an artifact, which I guess is the sort of the balancing feature. Interesting. Oh, my evil music playlist has ended. That was a very short playlist. I guess we'll have some superhero music. Because Edge of Eternities is a very dramatic feeling set. Okay, another bug. We love our bugs. Extra land drop is lovely. You may play lands from your graveyard plus an extra land drop is gross. It's pretty evil, especially with the things that I was planning to do with the Zaral deck. And then, whenever land you control enters, mill a card. I mean, yeah, if you can play lands from your graveyard, I guess that is neat card advantage. Asterisk only for lands. It wants to be in more of a general graveyard encouragement deck, perhaps. Infinite Guideline, which we got, and is lovely. I would never have considered making a deck list for this, up until the point where I just drew it from a pack, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe. It's got potential. It's a shame that it brings in the robots tapped. Because that's a turn when you're doing something, you're not really getting much out of it. Like, you can't tap them down to station this straight away while they are summoning sick. And they can't block either. Penguin says, it's Wooburg? It is Wooburg. And that's the thing that would normally put me off, because like I've made a few Wooburg deck lists in my time, and I don't really like the mana bases for them. I'm not good at making a 5-color mana base. They feel finicky and awkward to deal with, to me. My youngest brother says he has a strategy for making a Wooburg deck, which is you make about half of the land green, and then you just include lots of green ramp that fetches basics. Which is interesting as a choice. Yeah, it's interesting as well because it makes robots. It makes lots of robots, and it's an artifact. So you think you maybe want to put it in an artifact deck, but it cares about multicolored stuff, which artifacts traditionally aren't. They're the opposite. So it'll be interesting to approach as a deck building possibility. Light Stalling Visitors, a 2-1 Vigilance for 1, which is good. And then it forces people to sort of have a little bit of a tax on one card from their hand. That's very good value for 1 mana. That's very good value for 1 mana. They should have been a 2-mana card. Like, I guess on the flip side, would I play it if it was a 2-mana card? Answer: maybe in like one specific deck. If I was running like a Dranith Magistrate deck, I guess, sure. Or if I had like one of a few specific cards out, like Rocco Street Chef, maybe. But it's like just a 2-1 with Vigilance 4-1 on its own feels quite good value. So then that plus a little extra feels this is a bit cheeky. Loading Zone. It's got a walk for 1. If 1 more counts to be put on a creature, spacecraft, or planet, twice that. Okay, it's a counter doubler for any kind of counter that you can warp in. Interesting. Sure. Here's our Lumen class frigate, which we got, which is a nice little anthem. Memorial Vault. So that in the lore, the Memorial Vaults are like when Caveron was breaking up, they started storing all of their like relics and culture in Memorial Vaults. And nowadays, there's lots of Memorial Vaults floating around amongst the broken up bits of Caveron in the broken half. And a lot of what the Cavs do is they send out these teams to go and raid the Memorial Vaults and like bring back their cultural heritage. It's a 4-cost artifact. You tap and sacrifice another artifact, and you get some Impulse draw. You can get a better rate of return on Impulse draw for less. Then it says, God, I do love they decided to use Kavu of all things. See, because I've never interacted at all with the setting of Dominaria, where the Kavu originally come from, to me, this is just what Kavu are. And if we ever go back to Dominaria, it's going to be really weird there being Cav that aren't, like, aliens. It's going to be so strange. Light Form Harmonizer. Double power of target creature on landfall. And then the warp ability is not super relevant here. I don't think you're going to be warping this very often. He says, it's like, here are the planets of the Saurial Raptor women. None of those words, apart from, I guess, maybe women, I would use to describe Kavu from what I've read. Like, I guess they're loosely reptilian. They feel more like, oh god, what are they called? What's Rex's species from Mass Effect? Krogan, yeah, they feel more like that to me from the cards I've seen in the descriptions that I've read. Obviously, they're not like personality-wise, much like the Krogan. But that's the physical impression I get of them. Let's actually, can I have a set EOE type Kavu? Let's get a good general picture of what they look like. Yeah, maybe I'm just being too picky about the use of the word Saurian and the use of the words raptor. These don't strike me as being very raptor. Maybe I'm just being a splitting hairs. There's also a lot fewer Kavus in the set than I realized there would be. I thought there were going to be quite a few. You're forever conflating the non-humans. Mamenon, he's a character from the story. He doesn't show up for a lot, but he was in a lot of this artwork was in a lot of the promotional articles, so everyone knows what he looks like. He's a 5-cost, 3/4 flyer. Artifacts from the top of your library, and artifacts have tap for a blue, but only for a spell from somewhere up in your hand. Interesting. I could find a slot for him, I guess, in a 4th Doctor deck. I have been considering making a 4th Doctor deck, but I don't know if I was planning to make it very artifacty or not. I guess it would make sense to make it artifacty. Interesting. I could find a slot for him, sure. And he'd probably be alright at holding his own deck as well. If you wanted to play mono blue artifacts, which I wouldn't, but I could understand if people do. Meditations. Aura. Oh, this is one that I've seen lots of people about. The first time you create one or more tokens each turn, you instead create that many tokens that are copies of enchanted permanent. That's potentially a big deal. This is going to be an exciting card. I think people are going to use and enjoy using a lot. You want to break this? I think people immediately see this and think, I want to break this. Here's a Mutinous Massacre, which we got. I can't for the life of me remember what the card is. It's like half of this, but it's not important. Pretty Nebula Dragon. Ooh. 4/5 Flying Haste. Deals some damage on entry. Sure. Has a warp that you're... I guess you could actually use it because it's got haste. Pain for All. This is a card I might use not in Magic the Gathering. It enters, enchanted creature does damage. Okay, so it's a bite spell. There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of red bite in this set, which is interesting. Enchanted creatures dealt damage. Okay, so it's like a bite, and also it likes to be an enrage. I've been considering making an enrage deck for a while, so this is definitely something to think about. Pinnacle Emissary. Is it artifact creature? Likes artifacts, makes drones. Sure. Yeah, if you're casting artifacts and you're in Izzet, sure. You make more artifacts, and they're 1/1 flyers, but they're not quite as useful as Doctors. Here's our Pinnacle Starcade, which we saw before. Possibility Technician. Oh, he's Kavu Tribal. He's Impulse Draw on Kavu's entering. I mean, yeah, sure. If you're playing a deck with lots of Kavus, I don't know if there's that many other Kavus that care about Kavus. Let's have a look. Okay, there is actually a decent amount of cards that care about Kavus. They're quite old cards. All Kavu have Trample. There's not really a commander for it, which is a little bit of a shame. But sure, I guess, yeah, why not? The Kavu card creature. It's nice that they make support for these random creature types. This is Ragos. This is the card that like everyone has been talking about in deck building. I think mostly just because they're enthralled by the idea that he's a lobster chef. More than because he's good, although maybe he is also good. Artifacts you control are foods, and this is the other type. Have the food ability. You can pay one and tap him and sacrifice a food for 3 damage to each opponent, which is not below me already. But he has only 2 mana. At the beginning of each end step, you gain life this turn on tap Ragnos. I think the biggest deal here is making other artifacts into foods. But I'm also not sure how many food synergies there are in red-white. Sure, fine. This is white. Rice says Penguin. He definitely feels like a meme then. I don't know exactly what his spot in the rankings is. So let me just hang on a sec. I'm gonna have a quickie look on the old what is it called? EDH track. Alright, he's had 2,458 decks with it, which is not loads, but it's a decent number. I wonder if they have rankings for Top Commanders Weekly. They do. He's not in the Top Commanders Weekly. No, he is. He's number 5. Hang on, I can just this over, can't I? You can see what I'm seeing. He is number 5 of the Top Commanders Weekly, so lots of people have been interested by him building. I think it's interesting that Ishtola and Sephiroth and Cloud are all still in the Top Commanders Weekly. Vivi I can understand because Vivi's busted. Kengal asks, is he in the Top Commanders? I don't know if you can hear the clapping. He is not a trending card. I don't know how they calculate trending cards. Interesting that Yuna is a trending card but not a top commander. Because normally like being a precon commander is a good way to get a boost in your number of decks. Oh, Hearthal is here. I think that's particularly interesting because I wasn't that enamored by Hearthal. I know I've bought the deck, but I'm much more enamored by the other commander. Says, fun fact, I just found that none of my messages have been sending in Twitch chat. Oh no, poor Kingo! Yeah, the last message I have from you before Top Commander Strongly was Unicron at home. Oh, Pat, I'm so sorry. I mean, I guess at least you know I haven't been like ignoring you. Oh dear, that's a tragedy. I wonder what are you on mobile? I wonder if that is why. Oh, Pat. Here is our monolith. There's a nice way to make a blocker not useful anymore if you have a big creature. You're in black. Do you have many big creatures? Answer maybe. Here's a Rust Harvester, which I ran in my deck, and it was pretty much just there to be a jump because I didn't have any artifact cards to speak of. Another shock. Oh, Secluded Starforge, a new land. King says it was mobile. I switched to PC, which is now working-ish, disconnecting intermittent. Oh, I assume that's not a my end problem, because everything I have that is vaguely analytical is telling me I'm doing fine. But that is a shame that, and also that couldn't cause you to not have messages come through like this. It's a shame that that's happening. I'm really sorry. Poor King Girl. What does this boy do? I love the art, firstly. Taps colorless. Tap untapped artifacts to get +X+O. And then makes a robot. Sure? Yeah? That I could find a place for that absolutely in my Third Doctor Sarah Jane list. That would go really well. Very useful land. Well, isolate the issue later and just be PC locked for now. Well, I wish you luck in troubleshooting. This is pretty! Look how pretty this is! Destroy creatures. Then any number of type has each mill half their library. Okay, yeah. Oof. I think I actually remember someone from the design team talking about this card. The design philosophy was basically just like stick two popular cards together. And you know it works! And yes, anything that makes you mill half your library is breakable. A Sledge class siege ship. I'm not sure if it was this. There was a green spaceship that dealt me a lot of damage. I don't remember my opponent putting any creatures from their hand into the battlefield for free though, so maybe it wasn't this. It's interesting. It's a bit of a hoop to jump through to get the 7+ on it. But if you're playing a deck with a lot of expensive creatures, then like you get one of them out, and then this is gonna let you get out a new one every turn. So if you're playing like a, is it Rescue Beastie? I think it's like Kona Rescue Beastie or something. Yeah, if you're playing Kona Rescue Beastie, this has all of the synergies because like, oh, you tap Kona to station your siege ship, and then Kona lets you get out a permanent. And then this is going to let you get up permanents, and you've probably got a bunch of expensive things in your hand anyway. Then it says, I'm going to make some lunch. Yes, it's far past lunchtime, but gotta eat. You must eat. Enjoy your lunch. I should really be wrapping up soon. I guess we've not got that many cards left to look at for the rares and mythics, so that'll probably be what we do today. But thank you so much for being around. It's been lovely having you. Also, I haven't had lunch yet either, so, you know, even if I wanted to judge, I couldn't. Space-time anomaly. This card is breaking Two-Headed Giant because you have lots of life total and not very many cards in deck. So this is a problem there. But otherwise, it's just nice to have more white mill. I think that's interesting. Starfield Vocalist, again with our Interstellar Song Contest cards. 4 cost, doubles enters triggers. I'm a bit over like trigger doublers, especially for the common triggers. Like, you know, give me a trigger doubler for something weird. Give me a trigger doubler for casting from exile, or for just casting in general, maybe. But we don't need another Panharmonica in the world. It's good value if you're in blue and you have an blink deck or something, then it's good value. Starwinder. If a creature controls this comet damage to play, you may draw that many cards. Do I mean Panharmonicon? I think I mean Panharmonicon. I've looked it out with my thing. Well, it helps if you spell it correctly. I do mean Panharmonicon. Maybe I should put this in my Itali deck. My Itali Premocon deck, not Itali Premostorm deck. It says, give me a trigger doubler for the kind of trigger building a deck around, he said unbiasedly. But it's more just, it's more just like unusual triggers, like because entering is a trigger type that there's quite a lot of support for right now. You know, there's a whole archetype of Blink decks just around creatures with enters triggers and getting them as many times as I like. In blue even. So it just doesn't feel that interesting or special. It's like, oh, here's another card, and obviously every additional copy of a card makes these decks more strong. Because it's like a redundant thing. You're 100, in your 99, you got to draw the thing out. Well, this is another chance you have to draw that thing out. Whereas there's things that don't have them at all. Like Roaming Throne is interesting because it doubles for a creature type. You know, I'm glad that there's one of it. It's bloody expensive, but I'm glad there's one of it. You know, there's someone who doubles attack triggers. It's nice to have one of those. But why, you know, why do more of the same when you could do a different type of trigger doubler that you've not done before? Like, I guess it's because, you know, warp is a relevant ability, and there's warpers with enters triggers in this set. Whoops, didn't do that. I'm sorry, what was this? Okay, sure. We have an anime card version. Sure. Wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I'm just like, why do the redundant thing when there's ones you haven't done? Big Space Leviathan. We love a big Space Leviathan. The comment I'm playing me draw that many cards. Spooky. King says, I mean, warp also synergizes with Castle Exile. It's true. Maybe there'll be some warp cards that I end up putting in some of my decks. I don't know. I haven't looked. None of the warp cards I've seen so far have felt like, oh, I really want this in my Cast from Exile deck. But there's useful warp cards, so there might be. Another Shark Land. I think it's also it's a little bit saddening to me as somebody who loves Cast from Exile. It's a very sort of niche, weird archetype. That like. We have a whole archetype, Void, that's around warping. It's not just around warping, but it synergizes a lot with warping. And it's in red-black. And it's not Cast from Exile related. I'm like, oh, we were so close. It says, you do special whenever you cast a creature for its warp cost. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see, I don't know if they have a card. So I'd love to see just like a card there's like you can cast a creature for its warp cost instead of its normal cost. That'd be like that's very similar to a lot of designs they've done before. Like there's Face of Bow which does that, but for suspend costs. I'm sure there's other things that do stuff like that. That'd be a fun little sort of thing to have, just to sort of support warp as a mechanic and as an archetype. But I guess they do also say that like whenever they do a mechanic for the first time, they'd like to not do everything that they can possibly do with it, to leave them space for if they want to revisit it, which I understand. Sunset Saboteur. 4-1 for 2 with Menace, and a good ward cost as well. Ah, but it has a downside. Plus one comes from a creature with phone controls. I see. Okay. Each creature has a warp cost of 10 for advancing. Yeah, that would be a fun effect to have as well. Sunset Chapter. Now this is a card that a lot of people have. It's drawn a lot of ire for the art on it. I think a lot of people have said they think it feels very AI art adjacent. Although presumably it's been looked at and it isn't AI art. I don't hate the art. I don't really see exactly what people have against it. Like it's not that AI-ish to me. Maybe it's because it looks like he's doing something inappropriate to our armor, but like he's not. Like if you look at it for a few seconds, like he's not. So I don't know. Don't know what's going on there exactly. Being a rand stat, 3-2 for 2. Mirror and step. If you control turn, will attack creatures, put +1 counter on something. Sure. I think it's interesting that white is definitely the color that best supports like the spacecraft archetype. Ooh, another spaceship. Not a very spaceshipy looking spaceship, but I still love the art. I love that it's got a swarm of these little sort of jellyfish face robots. I think that's really cool. What does it do? It costs 1. Station it for 2. Interesting. It animates an artifact. The interesting thing about the spacecraft is because the spacecraft gain abilities as they go down, a lot of vehicles, because they just have an ability, and then normally the ability is only useful when they're in a creature, but they still have it when they're not. A lot of vehicles really benefit from being animated, but almost no spacecraft benefit from being animated like this. And I'm never really that fussed by like non-mass animate artifacts. It's like, okay, sure, I can turn an artifact into a 4/4, or in this case, I can turn an artifact into a 2/2. I can just cast a 2/2, and you know, like it's a 4/4 flying vigilance when you stage it up to 9. Yeah, that's a lot of hoop to jump through for a 4/4 flying vigilance, even if it is a 4/4 flying vigilance for 1 mana. Yeah. If this ability gave the artifact vigilance instead of flying, so you have the option of swinging out with it and then using it to station this spacecraft, that would be something that was interesting to me. I don't know if that would be balanced, but it'd be something that's interesting to me. As it is, Sir Vondam, he's one of the semi-major antagonists from the story. He nukes a planet. Well, he doesn't nuke a whole planet. He nukes like a village in trying to get the MacGuffin artifact. He's a 2/2 vigilance menace for 2. Another creature you control dies or is put into exile with a +1 counter on him. Interesting. So he gets around graveyard hate in your sacrificing deck. Interesting. When he dies or is put into exile, you can just blow something up if it's big. Sure. Tongue of Velocity. This is the card that I had, and it was very useless in Limited. I don't even rate it that highly in Commander, to be honest. Like, I guess it's a board wipe and you can see a creature out, but then you lose the creature from your hands that you've put onto the battlefield. Terra Symbiosis. When you put 1 more +1 counters on a creature, and you draw that many cards. This is something that needs to go in Shaka's deck. I should actually have been keeping track of things that I was going to recommend to Shaka, and I haven't been. That was very foolhardy of me. But this is something that needs to go in Shaka's deck, just to make it even more terrifying than it is. This feels very like retro sci-fi. The art here as well. A legendary spacecraft. 5 cost, taps for 3 as a base, sure. And then station it to 20, you get 1,000,000 mana. You get 20 mana. If you've got 20 powers worth of creatures that you stationed this with over time, do you need, like, you've already won. You haven't already won, but like, oh, it doesn't even actually become a creature. That's weird. It doesn't become a creature? Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I think it definitely should become a creature. No, that's wrong. That's not right. Yeah, this is... this feels a little bit like a thing without existence, perhaps. The Sarima. This is one that was advertised a lot. This is the main character spaceship. It's a very fun looking craft. It's a 3 cost, tutus for a legendary creature. and then it becomes a 5/5 in a 5/5 flying that gives other legendary creatures indestructible. So it's, you could this could be your commander in a white legendary tribal deck. I've seen people make like a deck suggestion for that. It's an interesting concept. I'm not very pro tutor, so it doesn't excite me particularly, but this bit is fun. I have a deck that I could see some things. Thrumming Hypal, everyone has talked about. It's the only Slither card in the deck. It's very good for Slithers. Gives them all double strike. Slithers are going to be even more insufferable than before with this. This is quite a pushed card, it feels like. Warmaker Gunship. 3 cost. Deals damage to a creature equivalent of an artifact, sure. And then it's a 4/3 flyer, sure, fine. Another shock. Everybody and their mother has been talking about these munitions tokens on Mark Rosewater, he's one of the lead designers' blogs. And they're literally just on this card. People have just got really carried away with this one card and their munitions tokens. I think munition tokens are interesting because they want to be sacrificed, but they can't sacrifice themselves. And yeah, it makes a bunch of artifacts if you've got artifacts coming in. So if you have your artifact synergies and your artifact sacrifice outlets anyway, it's a solid card. Oh, this is... Soon we'll have enough firepower to rid of Vendor of its bug infestation. Oh dear. Looks like the Cavs might be going to war with the Numidians. That's not good. That's not in the story. Zoophyte, Osteoharmonist. I've seen people talking about this card as well. I'm not sure why. Return target creature from graveyard to battlefield. It's a skeleton and has no abilities. Interesting. The no abilities bit, like most creatures you want for their abilities, rather than just for their brute strength. But you could make a deck around this, for sure. 0-point ballad. Strikers with toughness X or less, you lose X life. And then if X is big, you get a creature card back to help you rebuild. Sure, as a board wipe, yeah, sure. And now we're on to our mythic. So that was all the rares. We've gone over time, but I'm gonna have a look at this because it's only like a page and a bit. We have our planets. So here's our first planet. This is a Dagia, which is the least pretty planet. And the ability at 12 is going to take on a copy of target artifact or enchantment, except it's legendary. It's an interesting ability to have on a land. Copying an enchantment is interesting in particular, because there's not loads of things that let you do that. You do only get one copy of it, because there's legendary. So you can't go really busted with it. Alfariel, he's a main character. Or to discard a card at random. Void, when he attacks, defending player loses half their life. Ouch. Okay, he can do some scary things potentially, and he's very resilient with one discarded card. Anti-causal vestige. Oh, we saw this. This is just a different art version of what we saw. Cosmogrand Zenith. 3 cost 2/4. On your second spell, you either make some tokens or you put a +1 counter on each creature. This +1 counter on each creature is good. This is going to go in a lot of like the Sorcery control decks, I think, where you're not casting many spells on your turn. You might be casting a bunch of spells on other people's turns, so you can get this trigger multiple times per turn cycle. That looks pretty solid. That's a pretty solid card. Dawnsire, Sunstar Dreadnought. It's another legendary spacecraft. This one does have toughness. Again, you need to get it to 20, and then it becomes a 20/20, which is crazy. And then at 10, it's whenever you attack. Not even when you attack with it, whenever you attack, it deals 100 damage to a creature or planeswalker. I know they said they put some really big numbers into this set. These are some big numbers. That's spooky. That's real spooky. You can have this as your commander, which is even crazier. This in conjunction with that Memorial Black Artifact spell is the player death, but obviously you can't have that if this is your commander, this is colorless. But it's interesting, it's interesting. It's 5 mana and then 10 counters is a moderate amount of effort to get through to make this happen. And then obviously, once you get to 20 counters, like this is a game card. But that's again a pretty big hoop to get to. Devastating Onslaught. XX red, X tokens the copies of something. They gain haste. Oh, this is a card that I can use in the Tally deck. This is definitely a card that I can use in the Tally deck. I should remember this. This is a vendor. This is who I have in foil as well. Oh my goodness, it's a Spenny boy. How much is the foil one going for? $35. Wow, yipes. I don't traditionally like to look at the value of cards I have. I probably shouldn't have done that because I don't think you should be judging cards based on their monetary value. If they're cards you have, like I think you should be judging them based on, are you excited to play them? Are they good cards for your decks, etc. But I had a look, I shouldn't have done. Exalted Sunborn. This is another angel. An angel wizard. 4/5 flying lifelink for 5. And it's a token doubler. And it's got warp. I don't think the warp is again super relevant on something like this. But it's currently a $26 cover. I've seen this is going to go up in price because token doublers are, particularly white token doublers, are always huge. And this has got a very nice body attached to a token doubler as well. Like a 4/5 flying lifelink for 5? Yeah. Famished World Sire. It's a boy who's eating a planet, it looks like. He's got Devour Land! Okay. It's an 8 cost for a 0/0, but it gets 3+1 for each land you sacrifice. Oh, and then it replaces your lands, because you look at the top X cards where X is power for any number of lands on the battle attack. Oh, interesting. So this is a big game ender in a land format, potentially. And interesting that it doesn't put the rest on the bottom shuffled, you just shuffle your whole life. Interesting. Ice-Tail Explorer, an additional land. Oh, then we've seen this one as well. I don't like this art. This looks very AI art adjacent. I love that. Here's the red planet land. So its big ability is 1 and a red and tap and sacrifice a land for a 2/2 and then creatures get +1 and haste. That's rubbish. That's honestly, if this was just like I know it is a land, but if this was just the ability that it had and you didn't have to station for it, that would still be a bit crap. This is not like, it's a pretty card. This is not a good card, which is a shame. Here's our Mutinous Massacre. Here's a Ruberoid, who's such a good boy. Quantum Riddler. So Sphinx, 4/6 flying Sphinx in space. When it enters, you draw. When you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, you get an extra draw. I don't think that's gonna happen very often. Like, you're in blue and you're doing card drawings. You are not going to have 1 or fewer cards in hand very often. And again, the warp ability is a bit pointless on this. Okay, here's our other Sammy cards. He seems to be fighting with his Snitch things. Sammy Wildcat Captain, 6 cost 4/4, double strike vigilance. Spells you cast have affinity for artifacts? Okay, people are definitely gonna make decks of this. He's a scary boy. Double strike and vigilance is such a good combo, especially with a good stat. And then affinity for artifacts is an ability that was already broken. Like it ruined the whole meta once in standards. So that's spooky as well. I guess the catch is he doesn't have affinity, so you do have to get up to that 6 mana. Once you're at 6 mana, you're casting a lot of things for not very much mana. This is the same land we had before, but it looks uglier. This is Sodra. This is one of the face cards of the set. I think this is the face card of the set. So 4 cost, when a creature you control dies, each opponent chooses a creature they control and exiles it. Which is a fun effect to have. Great in an aristocrat style deck. So much so that the second ability is almost a downside. At the beginning of your end step, if the player controls no creatures, you sacrifice something, and then you get one of the exile cards. It's a good card. If I was making a aristocrats deck, I'd definitely consider putting this in. The exile is, in a way, almost sort of a downside because you want creatures to be dying a lot in those kinds of decks. And then the fact that this goes away, but it's fun. This is a good effect. This is just generally a good effect. We have Sissa Secundi, the Black Planet. Its ability is 1 black, tap, pay 2 life, and sacrifice a creature. Okay, sure. Draw cards equal to its power. I mean, that's a fine enough ability. It's very hoopy to get to. Because you've got to station it up to 12, and then you've got to sacrifice a creature. I mean, I guess you can sacrifice the creature that you used to station it up to, so it's not the worst. No, it's 2 mana and 2 life, and sacrificing a creature. Once you've got all this way, feels like a lot to get the effect. Here we have Tannock. So Tannock is Sammy's pilot, and the sort of the secondary protagonist. Other creatures have haste, artifact cards, and red creature cards in your hand. Okay, so this is something that gives stuff more. Like we were saying, might be a fun ability to have. I like that. Works well in a Sammy deck as well. There's the obvious synergy there. I assume that warp costs includes affinity. Because you are casting it, and affinity does decrease the casting cost. So I assume that those two things interact in the way that you would want them to. That being said, I don't know if I would necessarily actually choose to play this in my Sammy deck, but you can see how they work together at least. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he'd be an interesting one to have as a commander. Again, you could play if you had him as a commander, you'd rather cast from exile deck, because that's the main advantage of the warp, I guess. Well, or maybe you just stack it with really expensive creatures that you'd warp in and have a swing with haste. Maybe you do that instead. Just all of the biggest, baddest red dragons with haste for 3 mana a turn, or 3 mana at a time. Okay, Tezzeret, the Planeswalker of the set. Lots of abilities. He gets a loyalty counter for each artifact you can bring in, which is going to be crazy. But he doesn't have a plus ability of his own. He untaps things, he tutors for cheap artifacts, and then his ultimate, which you are likely to get to, I think. You get an emblem with, at the beginning of combat turn, 3/+1 counters on target artifact you control. If it's not a creature, it becomes 0/0. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the animating artifacts, as I sort of said. This one at least is an animated artifact every turn, so it's a repeatable animate. But it's becoming a 3/3. I just don't know if I'm that fussed. Just don't know if I'm that fussed by that ability. This is a card that is worth talking about, though, the Dominion Bracelet. This is a colorless card that lets you control an opponent during their next turn, which is a crazy ability. They've only printed a few times. And it costs 15 to do that, but it's 15 less the creature's power, which is also +1. So you put this in, like, this. I could probably easily put this in my Terry deck, because then it's a 6 cost. Or if you're running like Gulta Primal Hunger, then it's a 3 cost effect. Actually less than that because it's also giving +1. So yeah, this is a scary card. This is gonna give, I think, primarily green and reds this ability for quite cheap. This is one to look out for. We have the Endstone. So this is the MacGuffin of the story. 7 costs. When you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card. At the beginning of your end step, your life total becomes half your starting life total rounded up. So this is interesting. This is going to go in a lot of black decks that want to pay a lot of mana. Pay a lot of life, even. Because this becomes actually like an upside. Because you pay yourself down to like 5 life. And then, at the beginning of your end step, I'm back up to 20. Like, okay, back up to 20 is not wonderful. You'd rather be at 40. But if you get 15 life's worth of payments out of that, there are commanders. I can't remember what the specific command I think it is, but there's a commander that like lets you cast spells by paying life. And that. With this, that just basically becomes 15 to 18 mana's worth of free spells every turn. And it's a huge card draw engine on top of that. It's cost 7, but yeah. Maybe it costs 7 life, and then it brings that life back. So, Uthros, our blue planet. I think the last planet. I think we've seen them now. This one is blue on a tap. Add blue for each artifact you control. This is an effect. So like the green one, this is an effect that was really busted when they just put this on a land on its own. Those cards are either banned or game changers. So I think this is a good card now with the hoop to get through being proportionate. And finally, Weft Walking. So Weft Walking is the sort of original way of interstellar travel before people came up with spaceships. There's just this one species called the Drix who can Weft Walk. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen a Drix card in the rares or mythics. It's a 6 cost enchantment. If you cast it, shuffle your hand and graveyard until I bring you 7. Sure. The first spell each player casts may be cast without paying its mana cost. It's symmetric. It does give you a fresh hand. I wouldn't play it because I'd be scared of my opponents getting out big scary things as well. But in combination with like a stacks piece, because there's a stacks piece that like counters the first spell ever, but people hate that card. So there's ways to slightly mitigate how scary this is, but I don't think I use it. I'd have to be really well set up for having tremendously expensive cards that I wanted to use this with. But yeah, that's all of the cards. That's my take on all of the rares and mythics from Edge of Eternities. There's definitely some cards in there that are going on recommend lists. There's some that I might put into deck lists. The ones that I've got from the mythics, I'm very pleased that I have. I think they're fun cards to use and own. Some of them are a bit scary, powerful maybe as well. But yeah, I love the set. There's so many good-looking cards in the set. There's fun cards to play. I love the spacey feel. I love the lore. If you haven't read the lore, go read the lore. Because it's good. I just love the Edge of Eternities, and I'm glad that it seems to have been popular. Like the pre-release, like I said, the pre-release looks being sold out. A lot of the pre-releases that were otherwise in my area were sold out. Several of the pre-releases up in London were sold out. So it feels like it's been a popular enough set, and if that's the kind of thing that makes Wizards want to do more of this, which is good. um, that is gonna be it from me for today. But don't go anywhere just yet, because we are gonna go and find someone to give a little rady poos to. I was watching someone earlier. I assume they're no longer live. No, they are still live. It's a bit of a big stream to raid into, though, perhaps. Let's have a look. Rathers is live playing Peak. I do love doing a little Rathers raid. And I did enjoy seeing some Peak the other day. So I think we're going to go say hi to Rathers. Bub. Always got to remember that I spell it right, because the double letters catch me out. Oh, Rathers might be finishing up. Rathers is finishing up. Rathers is raiding into Lamadia. Damn it! It's a good job I checked. Okay, we'll go and see Lamadia as well, I guess. Much easier to spell. I guess has just been playing Peak, possibly, with Rathers, it looks like. King says, guess he moves over to a phone again without realizing, oh no, poor King Girl. Oh dear. Well, thank you so much for being around. I'm sorry that you've been having so many problems. That is rough. We're gonna go say hi to Lamadia. Lamadia's great. Be kind, be lovely. I had a chance to meet her at TwitchCon. I don't know if I mentioned that. I probably have many times. But it's a lovely time. It's a lovely space. I will hope to be back tomorrow. I don't know what I'll be doing tomorrow. We'll find out. It might be some more Locomoto, because I did buy that game because I did really love playing the demo of that game. So it might well be some Locomoto. If not, it might be some Magic Arena. But I don't want to exhaust people with the Magic the Gathering stuff. But whenever Edge of Eternities is out properly, I do want to be playing that on some Magic Arena. So we'll see, and yeah, it'll be noon British time tomorrow. That's BST, so we are UTC +1, unless we're UTC -1 if you're in a different time zone. But yeah, my name has been Dizzy. Thank you so much for being around. Thanks to Kinga for subbing earlier in the stream. It was lovely. You're a generous bean, and you helped me keep doing this. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Ciao, everyone. Bye bye.